If you're with the Feel Great protocol.
As they continue to suffer great losses.
Mr. Secretary, you know the Senate better than most anybody. They're debating the new military policy bill right now after the House passed it. One of the more controversial topics is about fusing the U.S. and Israeli military when it comes to co-production on things. Do you have any sovereignty concerns about that? If there are situations where the United States wants to send weapons, Iron Dome came up with Ukraine when the Israelis...
You're asking about NDAA? Yeah, I mean, that largely the Department of War manages that legislative portfolio, so I'm aware of the provision you're discussing that involves cooperation on technology. And look, at the end of the day, the truth is we do that with countries all over the world, right? I mean, if somebody, well, I haven't read the specific provision in terms to tell you in detail. I understand that, I understand the topic, though, because it's not new. You know, on air defense, for example, we've long cooperated with the Israelis. Look, if we have a breakthrough in our system or they have a breakthrough in theirs, we could share that in a way to improve our own systems as well. So if they've come up with some novel way of defeating drones, for example, of course we would want to have that and benefit from it. By the way, they're not the only country in the world that we would do that with. We do that with other countries as well. So I think that's the provision you're referring to, and that's something we're already doing. I mean, that's something that already exists. But I don't think there's any, that's different from sovereignty. I mean, it's not like U.S. forces are going to come under the command and control of a foreign general or anything of that nature.
Do you think it would be easier to make a deal with Iran if the United States didn't wipe out?
Well, I think that was good. How is it going out there, my fellow world patriots? It is indeed Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, or, all right, we won't go there, wings or tacos. Tuesday, July 28th, 2026. And I've brought a few friends with me. I've got Mr. Ghost and Mr. Armando and Mr. Doc Mike, of course, as it is Tuesday. And we have our show going here. And nice little clip that I'll bring him in first, Mr. Ghost. That's the first time I was actually seeing that. So pretty interesting speech right there because, oh my God, they're going to be taking us over and that's it. And, you know, I think the whole push, the whole negativity push is the whole key of this, right? It's like, oh, Trump's just doing what they want, blah, 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 right? But how's it going, brother?
It's going great, and it's always good to be here and with everybody else, obviously. And the audience, wonderful as always. I already know that. This is an example of where someone picks out a little tiny section, okay, and those who would benefit from anti-Semitism are the ones pushing this. The idea that, oh, we're going to integrate the military. Remember, I said one of the first comments I and Mike and Armando said would be the dumbest thing in the world to do. You don't do that. It's fully unwise. And even McGregor was out there saying, at face value, no, unwise, stupid. Many others were too, who know, who've spent their lives in infantry and things like that. So you're seeing the clarification of it right then and there. You don't have to worry about, like he said, a foreign general having say over American forces. And we do this all the time, especially with the United Kingdom. New technological advances that one doesn't mind giving up to the other. Many other countries too. We do it all the time in exchange information technologically or tactically, or a blend of both, such as the drone science. That's not really rocket science at all. Most of this stuff you can buy off the shelf at any good radio shop or off Amazon and put these things together. So, and it's been another diversion of stupidity, because it's not really, it's a low tech, numerical, overwhelming type of attempt. And in the end, there's too many things that can counter all of this. And this has been a stupid little sideshow, in my humble opinion, that's been played because some felt it important at their level. Others at their level is, what are you spelling out here? The obvious, Captain Obvious. Okay, handle it. But the bottom line is no foreign. And Israel's no better or worse than any other country out there on the list of countries of allies. Shouldn't be. And don't give me this crap about they're taking a bunch of hits for us. And they're not. They're just preserving their fiefdom, their kingdom, and they've got long reach. Israel is the only country, I think, on the planet that has exponentially more powerful reach and influence than it actually would if limited to geographic terms. Not a negative, not a positive, just an observation. But I would again caution people not to run away when things like this are said without knowing the full totality of the context in which it was taken from and why it was presented to people that way. There are still those who are Semitic who choose to always benefit from the anti-Semitic card. That's something, in my humble opinion, that needs to be tossed out, because it isn't a matter of being pro or anti-Semitic. If your belief system leads you to believe that that patch of dry ass dirt is where the next Messiah is coming, or whatever is going to happen in your world, and the world's only 6,000 years old and the devil put dinosaurs here, good luck to you. But now you're getting the real basis of that little argument that then turned into anti-Semitism when it never was to begin with. Simple as that. Oh, by the way, long way to say hello to everybody, but sorry, I had to do that.
Well, it's all good. I'll hold him because I'm looking at him right here. But I'll go with Doc Mike, sir. Welcome on in, sir. And I'm holding Armando because he was gracious enough to bring us another, what I think is a very funny link that we're all going to get a good gag of. Everybody's going to get a good gaggle over. But Mr. Doc Mike, sir, how's it going? How's the beautiful wife, Renee? Hopefully, obviously, and hopefully everybody's praying for her as well. But how you doing on this fine Tuesday, sir?
Thank you. Good Tuesday to you, and good Tuesday to all the audience members out there. And I have Renee here with me. Would you like to say hi?
Hello, Renee.
Hi there, everyone.
We get the whole audience here today. So. Yeah.
Right.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. So Renee and I have been having a not wonderful time with pharmacies today as getting we went out to get 3 heart medications, and they said there was 3. We had prior authorizations to get the medicines cheaper, and the pharmacy wound up the pharmacy wound up declining the prior auth, saying it wasn't filled out correctly, and she needed the medication today because she was out out yesterday, and so we had to pay the full price, which was around $1,800 or dollars. And
that should be a crime.
It
really
it
should
is.
be.
It is,
a crime.
and it makes me want to fight against big pharma and go against the people that, not just my wife Renee, with her heart transplant and the medications, but all the other individuals who are going through the same thing. And I've had the privilege and opportunity to work in the Congressional Intelligence Committee, the Senate Intelligence Committee, years back. And so now I'm thinking, is there something that I can do to make a bigger positive change, in the next election cycle? And so, I've been talking with Renee and some other congressional representatives. And so I'm actually thinking about, running for Congress the next election cycle.
Hell yeah.
Because I want to make a
Awesome.
difference. I want to make a difference, and I want to make things, where it's good for people, and not just you have these regular representatives or senators, who do all these campaign speeches to get elected, and then when they get elected, they don't do anything that they promised. And I'm just I'm over that, and it's time for someone or people to stand up that who are running for these positions to actually do that. And with the way everything is going with Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, who I've known for quite a few years, it's just I think I'm ready to step up to that plate. And I'm going to retire from the military, and I believe that's a calling from God, that if I can make a difference, at least I can make a difference in a positive way, and make a difference for everybody, to where whether it's going to be through medical, whether it's going to be through some sort of other incentives that could help people. And just it doesn't have to be all intelligence or defense, because
You could catch Dan Crenshaw in the wrong hallway at the wrong time and whoop his ass. I mean, I'm just saying.
That would get the GoFundMe through the roof for sure. And Mike,
No, you could hit his other eye with a laser.
oh
Yeah,
God, dude.
geez.
And
Oh,
well,
man.
I want Mike to continue, but I just wanted to add this because I was like, let me just pop this up quick. It says the United States has the most expensive healthcare system in the world, spending roughly double per person. Now, this isn't compared to everybody; it's compared to the wealthy peer nations. So, our wealthiest peer nations, we pay double what everybody else paid, and that's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. And absolutely right. And when we're standing in the pharmacy line, there were I'm not trying to say this indifferently, but there was immigrants in there, and they were getting their medication at no cost. And I have nothing against or migrants or immigrants coming in the country legally. But when they're getting similar to same medication that my wife is getting, and they're paying at no cost, where it's covered by the state or covered by the plan that they're on, that fuels my blood, to where they're getting a large amount of money for them and their family. And here, me and my wife are fighting, to get her medication, to pay rent for our apartment and utilities. And, we lost our house over her health conditions. We had to sell our house to make sure that we could, continue to get her appropriate health care. And that's all fine with me. A house is just a house, and the most important thing in life is my wife, living, and to have an external amount of time left on this planet with myself and you guys. And it's just, those are the things that I want to that I'm going to fight against. And that's where I'm at today, because I see the difference. And I want to be able to make a difference, and
Let's
as
do it.
well as Armando and Ghost know my background and everything, where I come from and my subject matter expertise. I know that will make a big difference, and I want to be able to at least try and do my best to run for Congress. And so I want to make a difference. And
Hell yeah.
and I know there's other elected officials out there who say they're there to make a difference, but as soon as they get in office, it's all about putting money in the pocket. And I've seen that countless times. And you know what? It's just it's over with. It's over with.
Time for a
The
change.
reason why you pay and those people in line don't is because somebody has to pay for them, and that would be all of us here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So within
Right.
that $1,800 is Renee's. Yeah. That's
The
ridiculous.
legalized American citizen pays for those who are not. All part of the game.
And let me put it this way: a standing medical bill pharmaceutically for me is about $4,000 a month. Although I'm blessed to have the lifetime coverage for that because of a specific incident.
Yeah.
That's not the case with so many people.
Right.
And every time I have to touch that or access it, it passes through my mind how fortunate I am and blessed I am for that. And then I immediately default to thinking about Renee and one other who don't have it easy in any way, shape, or form because they happen to be natural born Americans. We've been paying the freight for the pharmaceutical companies all over the world, and they're rampant profiting. And this is pure profiteering, and it needs to end.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
100%. And Mike, yeah, dude, I think you should absolutely run. And I know
Absolutely.
Armando, and I know Ghost, and I know myself, and I know at least a few handful of people that live in California that are probably in the chat right now, co-hosts, and we can definitely push as much as we can to get you out there for sure, because we need good people that are doing things, and especially with what I believe is going to be a breath of fresh air, people wanting to actually see change, right? Like a majority of the people out there wanting to see change. So I would say definitely run for it. And I don't want to leave Mr. Armando. So this is Mr. Armando Gonzalez here. We're finally bringing him in, even though he's on the screen and been on the screen. But what's up, brother?
No, not much. Just here today, vertical and above the grass, as always. I'm trying to get into a chipper mood because of things and stuff like that. We discussed that on the back channel there. But no, I'm good, man. Just happy to be here. Thank you for having me. And yeah, what can I say? We are just going through some very difficult times right now. Everybody is. All of us are. I could make a comment here, but I'm not, because I'll probably get some hate for it. But it is what it is. We're all good. We're here.
Well, you had shared this video in the beginning, and so you started talking, and you were saying like, "Oh, it looks like he's trying to give them orders," and I'm like, "Oh no, hopefully it's not going down that road." And then you would notice the faces, right?
Look at BB's body language, okay, with Hegseth and with Rubio, and then focus on two things: Hegseth's eyes, number one, and number two, look at Rubio's body language. That is 150% pure Cuban body language. That's basically telling Bibi to go F himself. Trust me when I tell you.
And turning your back on somebody like that, like
Yep.
completely
Yeah.
turning all the way around.
Yeah, there he utters something right there. He,
Yeah.
Smell my farts.
He's like, I just farted.
Yeah.
But
And
look
then,
at
and then
Yes.
Pete looks at Rubio. Just
he's
He
got that
like-
smirk. He's trying to hold that
Yeah.
smirk back because he knows exactly what he meant.
yeah, this
Hicks has also got to look like I'm staying out of the line of fire, but I'm witnessing every damn word.
yeah. Absolutely.
yeah, he's got a clenched you can, obviously he's looking away here, but I think body language experts would look at he keep kind of gnawing at his jaw here. I don't know if you guys can see that, like,
Yeah.
he's got kind
Yeah.
of clenched
Yeah.
jaw, mind, like it's stressing right there. And then when he looks that way, you can see it in his eyes. He's not like, like Bessent's over here, like, hey, the bell of the ball having a blast. That's a scowl, I would say, right there. Well, there we go.
Well, and you could even see BB reaching out with his hand, trying to grab Rubio's, with that gesture, trying to grab his attention again, as Rubio is already turning his back,
And look at this still.
trying to
Look at
grab his
Hicks'
attention.
Look at Hicks' jaw grip and his
Yeah.
look.
Oh yeah,
at Rubio.
totally,
It's like we're not playing this game. That's what that look is.
100%.
Yep.
They don't look like they're having a chipper affair like Bessent. He looks the body language, but happy eyes and ha ha ha.
Right.
Well,
And
he told
Young
him to
thinks
go-
he can manipulate everybody, and he can't.
Probably told him to go wash his yarmulke. It smells like goat pit.
He's like, yeah. How about kiss my ass? How about that? Does that sound good? Yeah. How about you and your friends can kiss my ass? We're not doing what you want. Okay. Sound great? He's always got that slimy look on his face, like he's, I don't know what the look is, but that slimy
Trying to
look, like
sell you a bridge in
Yeah.
Arizona.
sell you something. So guys, I don't know if you heard, but we got some information lately coming out on a topic that I think would be very, very pertinent to what a lot of people want to see happen. And I've been wondering, what is it going to take to wake up a majority of the folks out there? Because like even the Trump haters and whatnot, right? Like those people, they don't care about the election. Most of them say he's whining about 2020, this, that, and the other. But would the COVID-19 stuff, would that be it? Would that do it? So let's start off with a little clip here. Ron Johnson here. All right, let's get you a little louder here.
Peter Daszak, he knew about the labs in China. So he was fully aware of this. I think all of his lies were basically a massive cover-up of his involvement in the creation of the coronavirus or created pandemic. Then, once that pandemic began, he focused everything on a vaccine. Not a vaccine, it's really an experimental gene therapy. Okay, sabotaged early treatment, whether it's hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, these cheap generic drugs. Instead, push remdesivir, which, by the way, nurses call it run, death is near. It knocks out your kidney. So just about everything he did leading up to the creation of the coronavirus, his funding of the research that I think resulted in it, the devastating impact in the shutdowns, masking. You ever see a little child wear a mask and yet they had to wear those masks, set back their learning? I mean, the devastation of our response, our miserably failed response, largely falls on the shoulders of Anthony Fauci and the lies he told and his hubris.
Yeah, Senator.
Abso-freaking-lutely. And then it comes down to, well, what did they know and when did they know it, right? When did they know it?
Fauci is a typical cog in the machine. He doesn't think of the ramifications of past agreements and therefore actions. He's not thinking of what he contracted to do with COVID. All he's thinking is, well, I'm following orders. I'm in my position. You said you protect me. Well, that's not going to happen. No, they're going to sacrifice you like they would a piece of expended paper. Paper that, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I work COVID-19, under the National Security Council, and in the very beginning of it, and he had a lot of contracts with a lot of these companies in the very beginning, And,
Yeah.
and so to add on to what we're saying, the other thing that he's thinking about is the dollar sign. You know, all that
Exactly.
money that he made. I mean, he made billions of dollars on all
And
of
this
this.
is the way it is, and I'm going to be okay because they're going to protect me. Well, no, Fauci, they're not, because they're going to have to defend their position soon enough.
Correct.
And you were working at it from a level that, yeah, you've made that quite, you know, when we had another thing we were dealing with, you told me a lot about what you were doing. And I was dealing with it from, okay, who are the main players over there sitting behind documents, business fronts, frauds that are perpetuating this thing? And you'll find people are going to find out in history that Stefan Halper, our Benedict Arnold of the last 40 years, 50 years,
Really?
was up in it, the professor. You're going to find that a lot of names are involved in it, all the way from
Yes.
Peerbright Institute on left, right, slightly above, and way below. And if Fauci doesn't think they're going to sacrifice him to keep the limelight off them, which has been the typical play, it won't play out typically this time. I'll leave it at that.
Right. And even, you know, and some of the, or not some, but it was the weekly, you could say that it was the weekly end of the week meetings that we would have. And on those video meetings that we would all attend, there would be hedge fund managers, or not, I mean, they're above managers, but, you know, hedge fund people from Wall Street in these meetings, in National Security Council meetings, under the National Intelligence Council, you know, when we're giving all the medical intelligence data, sharing it, giving the synopsis on everything, the briefings. It was a shock to me, you know, why are Wall Street people in these meetings?
Oh, you can't have the
You know,
economy turned down.
yeah, in the beginning, it made no sense to me. And, you know, where we're at, you know, in our time frame now, it absolutely makes perfect sense to why they were in those meetings.
Pharmaceutical industry and
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, and they
Look
were
deeper.
and they were profiteering on the stock market, especially when they came out with their so-called vaccines, which, you know, they put in, you know, the vaccine companies, you know, came out with, you know, like Johnson and Johnson and all the other ones.
Pfizer,
They started profiteering on that.
Hmm.
And so
Look
they
a
were
little bit, look deeper into USAID also as well for that money trail related to this topic, especially under the guise of Moderna, because Moderna leads back to whom? Soros.
Yeah, and also BioNTech too.
Yep.
Yep.
And in sovereignty law, this is pure piracy with what they did to the population at large. It's piracy. And they engage in it all the time.
Absolutely. Mr. Halper was part of COVID too, huh? That's interesting.
You'll find him and a number of others, usual suspects.
Yeah,
Up in this. Anything that is of a global or multinational magnitude, you're going to find certain players in there every time if they're still alive and functioning. And
he's definitely
he's one of them.
He's definitely one of them because he was
and the
guy.
The name was there. The name was there many times.
He was the guy that pushed the with Christopher Steele over there, and they tried to get assets to go after George Papadopoulos, I believe. He sent a couple of women over there as well. Armando, did you want to say something? I know that when he mentioned the bankers, you were pointing. I don't know if you wanted to add it or you got it. He got the thought there.
It's the same usual suspects, guys. Everybody here in the audience knows it. On the table here, they all know it. You follow the money, man. I'm telling you, follow the money. It's the same usual suspects. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, for whatever reason, I think Fauci's going to walk the same way Obama did, the same way Hillary did, and stuff like that. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, and I don't want to see him walk, but it wouldn't surprise me if he does.
Eesh, yeah, you might have some
If
very sore people.
If it meant getting higher level players in the quiet, in the shadows, from the black nobility level to their lateral. I know this would be hard for people to understand, but it would be worth the trade-off.
Would people
If
know
you
those
really,
people's names?
well,
No,
eventually, yes,
you
eventually,
will.
but
So
not.
if he walks,
Mm.
he'll get smoked, because once you're done and that teat has run dry, you're now
His
a
own team
useful
will
idiot,
smoke
and
him.
you're finished.
Well, and the other
His
thing
own
with
team will smoke him.
and
His
the
own
one
team
thing
will.
and the one thing too with Fauci is he kept a personal journal,
Oh yeah.
and that now the journal has surfaced, and the one thing that in the meetings when he was talking, it it was always about him, and it was always the savior, he's the best person there is,
Rock star.
and yeah, he's the rock star, right? And and the best thing that he to call him, he was very hyperbolic about himself in the meetings. And so for him to say, I'm not hyperbolic, I'm not hyperbole, he was more hyperbolic, than anyone or anything in those meetings at all. And it just now digressing, 7 years later from the very beginning, it just shows, and especially with the release of partial of the diaries, and I'll get the full diary itself pretty soon here from a colleague of mine, but it's yeah.
Hey, Spaceshot, if you go back to that previous screen you had up there where it showed a certain paragraph, that one right there, he knew about this. That's from his diary. He knew about this since 2020. Read it.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, it's shocking.
Yeah, and let me see if this makes sense.
Anybody who can cover up for the entire AIDS debacle,
right?
Of course, they were going to keep their position. Of course, they were going to feel untouchable and made to be felt untouchable. How's it feel now? Anyway, continue on. Then.
Rock star. Sorry, so I'll read this, and I'll give you guys like a little example. So it'll be, you'll understand. All right. So Chris Martinson here says, according to this DARPA document dated August 13th, 21, they knew at the time COVID did come from a lab, that the mRNA vaccines worked, quote, poorly, that ivermectin worked since April of 2020. They knew that. And that hydroxychloroquine worked. Ditto. And I think that hydroxychloroquine goes back to, I think it goes back to at least 2015, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mixing up my dates here. But DARPA informed the Inspector General, and all parties chose to say, what? Nothing to the public about any of it. So, yes, a big reckoning needs to come. And like you said, Armando, maybe if this guy walks, somebody out there would smoke him. Like, I couldn't understand why they didn't, what they should have done. We had a guy in our state, he was a 16-year-old. He ended up murdering 2 babies, essentially, like a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. And whenever his sentence came up, they kept saying, oh, one of the guards said he threatened to kill me. So, you get another 5 years. You got another 5 years. And then he got shipped out. And I'm like, you want this guy to suffer? Say, hey, Craig Price is getting out of jail at noon, and we'll be releasing him from Sakonotset Crossroads in Cranston, Rhode Island at noon. That's how you know. But so I think this would be a situation that somebody's going to be so pissed off about it. And I'm not, telling anybody to do anything. Certainly never that. But I think there would be so many people out there that had didn't get to see their loved ones when they passed away, didn't get to visit people. Like, there was such horrible things. Like, you couldn't even visit your own parents in the hospital. Like, how horrible is that?
My prediction is he'll die of a quote unquote big air quotes, biggest air quotes you ever heard of, a natural death.
Oh, natural.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's easier to silence him than it is to let this shit go on. And that's the position he's probably in right now. I don't know. And I'm theorizing. I don't know, Mike, Armando, what do you think of this? He's talking to U.S. Marshals and witness protection. And he's going to die one way or the other.
Yeah, they'll Lindsey Graham him.
Get him, or he's going to get a new address. And
They'll Lindsey Graham. They'll Lindsey Graham him. And just to give you a little bit on hydroxychloroquine, that's not a new discovery. 2020, 21, that's bullshit. Okay,
It's been around
That's a
for years.
very old drug. Very old drug.
hydroxychloroquine has been around longer than dirt. How do I know? Because I used to get a shot of that peanut butter shit every time I deployed. You know for what? Malaria.
Malaria.
Yeah,
Peanut
the
butters?
original version
We
of
called
it.
the peanut butter when we would get the shots because it would go in really, really thick and it hurt like hell for a few days.
Yep.
It was all derived from the World War One, the penicillin derivatives, and they
Correct.
started going off in different directions. World War Two, rather, not World War One, World War Two, and these are old. Ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine are old, tried and true drugs. Side effects are known. Everything's known about them. And they do something very basic because they are not that far off from their original source chemistry for their center of action in the human.
It kills cancer, and there is countless cases documented that it does do it. But why would they stifle it? Well, you're tapping now into what? Big Pharma's pocket.
Yeah.
You don't want Big Pharma admitting to the world that cancer is as much a viral result of virus attacks as it is anything else. And where do those viruses come from? I'm just going to sneeze. It's going to be a long sneeze, and I'm starting now. Oxner Clinic, 1957, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, Windsor 38, Windsor 40, and with the viruses that people now call, what are those sexually transmitted? STDs that they want young girls to get and boys to get vaccinated for.
God.
All of these came out of these labs that were not, that had no real code of personal protection or protection from it escaping the lab. They were in literally row homes in the suburbs of New Orleans, Metairie, outside Metairie, Old Metairie, and that area. And Oxner, who was alive at the time with the Oxner Clinic, was overseeing this. Even in the film JFK, you'll see David Ferry, the Joe Pesci character with no hair, no eyebrows, no alopecia. Why does he have all those mice stacked up in his apartment? And this show, I'm showing people how deep this stuff gets, because his name wasn't Ferry, F-E-R-R-I-E. He was ferrying mice. That was his code name. Nobody ever let that out there. Stone didn't even know about it. He was ferrying mice from a 19-year-old girl who had figured out how to give mice cancer, put them in a fish tank that's constantly pumped with fresh cigarette smoke. And then she would send her batches of mice to Oxner. They would try to then ID the tumors. They were trying to weaponize cancer. Despite all of the white papers and papers they published regarding these studies, it was to weaponize cancer. One of their first they were going to try it on was Fidel Castro, not to bring it full circle, but it's part of the picture. And so you have all of that from that time frame. You have chlamydia, all these diseases that are out there that can, depending on your physiology and chemistry, result in cancer.
Yes,
with you.
that's true.
So why would you be sexually promiscuous and not find the actual benefits in being, I don't know, treating your body like a temple and being chaste? Oh, because what you feel is more important. Well, you're part of the problem, spreading all of these low-level STDs that turn into cancer within the human body. Most of the time, cancer went from unheard of in children in the 1930s to 1 in 5 for women, 1 in 3 for men because of their lifestyle, stress, industrial exposure, etc. Fast forward that up to today, it's now 1 in 2 to 1 in 3 for both men and women, and it's 1 in 4 for children. Not very good. There is a traceable real history to these pathogens and their creation, because what they were doing with these, and I'll leave it at this, what they were doing with these tumors that this young lady was able, and why she was doing it at the age of 19, why she was being supported and paid to do it at the age of 19 out of Florida, was because her grandmother died of cancer and she wanted to find a cure for cancer. And she felt, a brilliant young lady, felt that if she had specimens with cancer, she could then experiment on them, which would be mice. When she figured out how to give mice cancer so rapidly, they then didn't just hit them with X-rays or gamma rays. No, they hit them with particle beams, which then they found a very interesting metamorphic process, especially in the viruses they had isolated. Each time they did that, they became more robust and more survivable. Not the opposite. Some were looking for ways to kill these cells without invading too much damage or invasive damage to the human body through energetic beams of radiation or gamma or X-rays. They took it to the extreme of particle beams and created monsters that are still with us and that have increased the cancer rates to what they are today. That is the reality of cancer. There used to be
think that Rafe came up with the solution for that, and they offed him for it, right? And then I'll tell you something else. Yeah, another old drug when it came to STDs, right? Especially Navy guys, right? We deploy, you go over to the Philippines, you get off, you meet honeycomb because you've been out on the ocean there for like 90 to 120 days, and you're gonna get your you're gonna get your freak on, right? So after we depart and we leave there, right, the line down in sick bay is like literally forever, okay? Because everybody got the clap, right? Well, there's a certain shot they would give you after you went through the test, right? It's called Trobicin. Again, clear it up in 2 days, you were good to go. Those that had an issue, okay, after you got swabbed and checked, they would come out and say, all right, all you guys whose names I called, you get on this side of the aisleway, the other ones you stay here. Those of you over here, I forget the acronym for it, but it's what happens to the body that presents the same likewise symptom, but it's not when you consume too much alcohol and not enough water. Okay? It creates the same symptom, but it's not. The other ones over here, they would just tell you, yeah, you got the shit. So you know what it was, right? So you go in, shot of Trobicin, took care of you. Why are they not using that today?
It works probably.
Too effective,
yeah,
right?
You're right. Yeah. It works. Period.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, Ghost, you had mentioned,
I don't know what you're talking about.
You did. I can roll the tape back.
No, I'm just kidding.
He'll probably have some sort of a medical issue. Okay, well, with that in mind, Kaneko the Great posted out today. No, I got you. Rand Paul. So Rand Paul's Fauci Diary website has quietly redacted a June 2021 entry where Fauci describes suffering a pulmonary infarction, or what's known as a lung blood clot. So for whatever reason, it was there, and now it is gone. Horrible roller coaster day. I didn't get to be a rock star on camera 7 times. They all didn't listen to what I said and did exactly what I said. Moo-oo-ah-ah. But interesting, where I had gotten a chest CT in the morning telling me I had a lesion in my right lower lobe that he felt was a cancer, non-small cell carcinoma. I felt like I got hit by a Mack truck. Dr. Lee, quickly followed up on this and showed the film to Andrew Lerner at Sibley, who's a pulmonologist specializing in pulmonary nodules. Dr. Lerner felt that it was more likely an inflammatory lesion, and there were multiple other lesions that were very small throughout the right lower lobe. In addition, I had a pulmonary infarct in the right lowest segment that was definite. So again, the only definite thing on the film was the pulmonary infarction. He recommended a follow-up CT. Yeah, see. So is that what at the basic level is just a lesion or something in your lung, an infarction?
No. An infarction usually is a blockage from a clot or and correct me if I'm wrong, Renee or Mike.
Sudden lack of blood flow.
Yeah, it's usually some kind of restriction of blood flow in the coronary arteries or those are the lungs, which are immediately part of the first transfer of blood for oxygen and carbon dioxide, the basis, among other chemistries that are involved. I'm not a doctor, so I can't expound upon the details. I'm just saying from my understanding, that means some type of blockage
now, what do you
in
make
the
of
pulmonary
this,
systems.
that they removed it? Like, because one thing we know, the internet is forever, right? So once it's on the internet, people can delete it, but like we're looking at it right here clearly, right? So even if they were going to redact it, somebody going to have a copy of it out here. But like, why bother even? Some people theorize maybe Fauci's lawyers, reached out to the House or whoever, or Rand Paul or whoever released that specific stuff. But again, why? Why make a big deal out of it? I don't know. I just thought it was weird.
But I wouldn't rest upon Rand Paul to bring justice to anything.
No.
All right.
I
Rand
agree.
Paul is a good talker. He's a good razor line walker. He'll always fall on the right side. But you notice what's attached to his name as opposed to his father. Nothing real ever gets said or ever gets fucking done.
With all due respect, Senator, you don't know what you're talking about, okay? With all due respect.
Exactly.
You can't just say with all due respect and then say whatever you want. You certainly can.
Well, yeah, you can. Because if I were to say with all due respect, it would have zero fucking respect at all in it. It would be with all due respect, but I'm not telling you how much I'm giving you, which is less than zero. Speak your mind, sir, and let's get the truth out. Because I think Rand Paul is basically trying to. He's got stuck in some role of let's say not peacemaker, but proper information transfer from one table to another. And I'll leave it at that. This is just, of course, my humble opinion. I'm not meaning to besmirch anyone's public persona or slander anyone. However, the record speaks for itself. He does a lot of good talking. Not a lot gets done.
Yeah, unfortunately, that seems to be the pattern with a lot of these folks.
He is his father's son, but he's not cut from the same cloth. Gotcha. I'll just leave it at that.
I gotcha. Now, this guy Fauci here, right? I'm going to play maybe, 30 seconds of it or so, and I'm sure people have seen this before. But again, everybody, not all of us, of course, but a lot of these other schmucks out there, whether they were faking it or not, they were, treating him like he was the best thing since sliced bread. Fauci, God Fauci, essentially is how they treated him. But there was one man who definitely didn't hold any punches about what he thought about Mr. Fauci here, and his name is Kary Mullis, and he has passed away. And by the way, this guy, I guess, this doctor here had scrubbed this video, or had to copy it essentially, because they've scrubbed it and they were removing it on X back in the day. So they didn't want this stuff out, which is they don't want anybody second guessing Mr. Fauci and what he had to say out there. Let's see. Here we go.
What is it? What is it about humanity that wants to go to all these bills and stuff and listen? These guys like Fauci get up there and start talking. He doesn't know anything really about anything, and I'd say that to his face. Nothing. The man thinks you can take a blood sample and stick it in an electron microscope, and if it's got a virus in there, you'll know it. He doesn't understand electron microscopy, and he doesn't understand medicine. He should not be in a position like he's in. Most of those guys up there on the top are just total administrative people, and they don't know anything about what's going on the bottom. Those guys have got an agenda, which is not what we would like them to have, being that we pay for them to take care of our health in some way. They've got a personal kind of agenda. They make up their own rules as they go. They change them when they want to, and they smugly, like Tony Fauci, does not mind going on television in front of the people who pay his salary and lie directly into the camera. You can't
He doesn't mind. He actually was reveling in it. I talked to the governor here, and he did exactly what I said. And I talked to this governor and recommended this, and he did exactly what I said. So yeah, the dude is a big time head case. But
and he made one of the greatest pitches in baseball history ever.
At the Nationals there. Oh boy. But yeah, Carrie Mullis had a lot of disdain for Dr. Fauci there, and I'm just wondering, if he says he didn't deserve the job, when did he? Who put him up there? You know what I mean? That's what I'm wondering.
Whatever happened to that guy Redfield?
Dr. Robert Redfield, wasn't
he?
Yeah.
Wasn't he cooperating at one point?
He was Fauci's numero uno. Whatever happened to him?
Yeah, I have not seen him or Birx in a while.
Very good, very good question. That means, look, if they're cooperating, you ain't hearing nothing. They just disappeared. That's how it usually goes.
Here's the gentleman you're talking about here. Ding. Dr. Robert Redfield. Declassified information shows in September of 2019 there are 3 highly irregular events that happened at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Oh, that's an interesting thing. They deleted the sequences. So it's September of 2019. One, they deleted the sequences, highly irregular, and researchers usually don't do that. 2, they changed the command and control of the lab from civilian control to military control, which is highly unusual. They let a contractor redo the entire ventilation system, which I think is very telling. Clearly, strong evidence suggests there was a significant event that happened in that laboratory during that time. And guys, I don't know about, facilities and biohazards and biosafety and how they do this, that, and the other. Maybe Mike, if you were on the team there, you would know more about this. But I'm just going off of memory here, and they were essentially saying the level of safety security they had there was essentially equal to a dentist's office. And I think I'm pretty close to, and I know for sure they actually made that example or whatever.
Why would you care if the disease truly didn't originate from your lab? If it did, look, I'm going to say this. I want Mike to answer. But
So I shared 2 emails to you guys that pertains to exactly what we're talking about. If you want to open up and look at them, and this is from right in March of 2020 through very big universities. And if you feel like you want to share them with the public, feel free to. Just the PDFs, not the email. There's a lot in there that will make a lot of sense.
Yeah, you know what I will do? I will definitely take that and definitely go through it. Maybe I can pop one of them or one of the PDFs up quick. But that's a lot of stuff in there for sure.
Yeah, if you do the second one I sent, it's just one, and it breaks out how COVID, the design, how it works,
okay,
and how it'd affect each demographic community or country itself.
All right, here we
go. And how it was made. Yeah.
Let's see if this opens up.
And I'll give you the origin of its bonding capabilities that were improved. Go all the way back to 1959. Prior to that, the 1918 Spanish flu. And I've said this on broadcast before. And yes, I'm going to say something that's difficult to say. But if we're going to be honest about how things have been handled and why a government malfunctions the way it does, and I'm not being negative in saying malfunctions the way it does, is this pathogen made its way through civilian contractors for Diedrich, made its way into Canada, made its way to China. Right in and amongst what normal people think of as the government, et cetera. All of this was played through foreign sovereign layer actors. All of this was stroked and played along from 97 when it was reignited into 2008, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, and you saw swine flu, for example, H1N1, I think was its designation. None of this is short term. None of it. Now you say, well, how could the government do it? It's not the government. Stop thinking of the government as one thing. It is 1,000 things with everyone that you are and everyone that you know that makes it up. So it's not the government's fault per se. It was the allowance of foreign agendas long term to work through our government, the Canadian government, the Chinese government, and two others actually.
Caveat.
Okay. How
Caveat
do you
moment.
get it? Go ahead.
Cuban intelligence.
I'm sure they were up in there somewhere. There's no doubt in my mind that somewhere,
Positively.
somehow they had knowledge or were a participant or a facilitator.
Especially with Canada.
Oh, yeah, I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it's like the anti-Semitic problem. Oh, if you say this, even though it has not, you're not anti-Semitic in any stretch or any way, shape, or form, and you say this, and it's a fact of history, you get labeled that because of the predominant narrative that's been pumped into everyone's heads, that too easily is a default position rather than thinking. So if you can't blame the government per se for what happened, even though facilities were definitely used for the development of this, and even though facilities were definitely, because the people are compartmentalized even in those facilities and the facilities within the facilities. So they don't know. They think they're doing their patriotic duty. And this is the hardest thing that's been to convey to people, that through best intentions of you, all human beings, regardless of your position, inside, outside government, what you do if you are employed by government or contractors that are making their bones on government money, everyone is so compartmentalized. When it comes time to trace these things, yes, it can be traced, but you have to get people willing to say, yes, I witnessed this that you're saying, even though I don't know what it means. Because what you're saying that they don't know what means, but they witnessed it, is another facet of how this gets funneled through the very conduits that we trust to bring safety, to bring common sense, all the way up to the level of bringing common sense to the world. So understand, the enemy within is within everything. And this is a perfect example of how you have to specifically define who did what, why, what organizations, and then find those in those organizations who had signatory or monetary involvement. That's all that matters, signatory or monetary. And they go hand in hand, mind you. And you can find the genesis of this. It's already known. I know it has to be known. I've known about it since '97, since it kicked up, and was tracking it. So we're getting to a point with all of this exposure of corruption around the world. This is yet another doorway. You can poo-poo what I'm saying all you want, but if you're not in the mix of things in certain ways, in certain times and places, you don't understand the difficulty of this. The difficulty encompasses everything from getting other aspects and individuals to put their word and their lives on the line so that the truth, even though ugly as it is understood and not used as a political weapon. And that's what I don't want to see come from this. political weapons. I want to see the truth come out as a weapon against all that did what it did with COVID alone, let alone several pathogens prior that most people aren't pissed off enough about because they don't know about it.
Yeah.
And would you agree also, Ghost, based on what you just said right now, that between all of those layers of, yeah, I worked on that project, but I didn't know anything about it because I signed an NDA, but I have an idea, but I can't talk about it, right? There were layers of muscle in between those two, just in case you got a little frisky.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would all of a sudden have a car accident or got hit by a garbage truck or something like that.
Or a
and
visit
bye-bye.
that you wouldn't talk about.
Exactly.
Ooh.
And this is how, it's not just this country, it's the world. It's how it
It's
works.
the world. It's the world. Yep.
It's
And
the deep state.
Yeah.
Exactly, deep state.
Exactly.
And I know there are very good people in SES, but I'm still going to throw SES into that same basket because as a concept, its best nature, hey, awesome, should work. Wasn't meant for that. Was never used for that. And only good people got caught up in areas where they don't talk about it, they don't ask questions, or they don't want to. And I don't blame them. However, we have systemic structures that are relatively new, historically speaking, that really need to be dissected, questioned, and maybe dissected and left apart forever. And that's just where I'm coming from with all this, that all this was known years before late 2019. There were those of us early 2019, mid 2019, who were saying it's coming. They're going to do a pathogen. What type? A simple straightaway, binary, trinary, quaternary.
Well, in
again,
the beginning, they first tried to use MERS, and so I think it was 2012 through 2016. China had the outbreak of SARS, and then there was the outbreak of MERS, and then those didn't work to their effect, and then COVID-19 came into effect, and what Spaceshot had up on the screen. If you look at that file that I had shared with them, it breaks down everything in the very beginning, from the abstract introduction and to what is more important, to actually how the maximum likelihood or gain of function in genealogy, which is shown in the evolution of 2019 COVID-19. Which there's a map. If you keep going down right there, and then we wound up doing 3D modeling, and there's a lot more to it with 3D modeling. We did amino acid sequencing. That's the amino acid sequencing right there, and then below the amino acid sequencing, we looked into and basically pulled apart the virus's glycoprotein and wanted to find the alignment, in which you can go down to the motifs. That's another, there you go. And so you have 4 different inserts, and you have, so for number 1, you have the 2019 CoV GP HIV1, which is an insert into COVID-19 with HIV protein and variable region. The variable region would be with this next to it, the country and subtype, which would be the GPT 120 V4 version 4. Thailand CRF01-AE, and then your number of polar residues, total charge, and your PI value.
Is this where it's talking about HIV? Is that because I touched on this yesterday, where my co-host pulled a clip saying that they had HIV inside of the COVID vaccine. Ugh.
Yes, that is correct. And so this is probably never been shared with the world, probably in a
Thanks for
long
doing this.
time,
This is more
and a lot.
important than you
And
think.
I've saved this for the longest time until I knew this information was going to come out like it is. And I know this document has been sanitized quite a bit. There's probably copies, here and there, but I held on to this copy for the
You think
longest
values
time.
were changed?
I'm sorry?
You think any values were changed?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A
Yeah,
lot's been changed.
right. That's what I'm saying. Before it made it to the public, in
Yeah,
whatever form any of this did.
yeah, so absolutely. So throughout the duration of the original COVID-19, what you're looking at right now, in country in China and Thailand, Kenya, and India, where we recovered different samples. And we ran the samples through an independent university laboratory, which is at the above, who helped us do this. So after this we'll call it experiment here, and here's the 3D map imaging, and this is what the virus itself looks like.
Damn.
So when COVID was released, COVID was released in a structured way, to where one person had it, they got on a bus, and that bus took them to Italy. Then someone had it, and it was a different version. They went to Iran because they were from Iran, so they got on a flight and they went to Iran. That was a different variant. Then someone got on a flight or a drive and they had a different variant, and that went to France. And then and then there's two different versions in the very beginning, where if you remember if you remember when the cruise ships were stalled outside of the west coast of California. So we told those cruise ships they could not come into California, and we actually made it. We had an order put out that they were to come into March Air Force Base and have aid rendered to the patients and victims of COVID-19 on those cruise ships there. And so people had got on multiple cruise ships, infected others on those cruise ships there with the SARS-CoV 2019 variants. And then other people had piggybacked what we called back then as lily pad jumping. So Trump at that time, the president at that time, had enforced that, okay, you can't come from China directly to the U.S. Okay, but what they did was, instead, is they went from China to Vietnam or Thailand, and Thailand did not at that time have that no-go. You can't travel to America because of COVID. You were still free access travel. And so they would lily pad jump from China to Thailand or Vietnam or another Southeast Asian country, and go straight into America with those sick people. And this was done on purpose. And then they would release that virus and infect others as well.
Wow.
So there is an entire. So the best way to put this, if anyone has ever seen the movie with Tom Hanks, the movie, it's the Da Vinci Code books. Yeah. And it's the one where the guy is trying to release the virus, right? So they meticulously and methodically did the same exact thing that essentially they were doing in the movie, but they did this in real life with what we're looking at right now.
Inferno.
Yes, Inferno. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So the evolutionary release of 2019 in COVE, it was the very beginning of the first SARS-CoV-2 and then it wound up just being spread, and then different variants were released. And so that's why you saw different countries like Italy, Iran, France get hit so hard, because each of the COVID-19 variants were indicative to their population and to their country alone. It wasn't the same. It wasn't the same worldwide. So each country had its own variation of its own COVID-19.
Wow. Now, dude, I got a question for you because this is wild. One of my actually, I got two buddies that did a lot of really good research on this stuff, but one of them, and I think there's something to it. Did you guys ever look into 5G and any mixing with any of this stuff that may have been something to kick it off?
Yeah. So within the virus itself, there is nanoparticles, and there is something called graphene oxide, and the graphene oxide and the nanoparticles were used in conjunction together. And with 5G, the 5G became the weaponization agent to the operator being COVID.
Boom. And I'm dude, I thank you for that, dude, because early on he had noted, and this was back when he was PWD Oathkeeper, I think. So he basically noted that the first cases that we had, I believe they were out of Seattle, Washington area, but there were specifically Huawei 5G towers in that area. Also, those cruise lines that were off the coast, and we had a bunch of them, over the years there, but also Huawei 5G. I think Italy was also Huawei 5G. And some of the more, harder hit countries had that Huawei 5G in it. So I was like, dude, it makes too much sense not to be.
When you saw the smuggled videos of, say, a Chinese businessman, middle-aged, standing on a corner looking at his phone, then dropping over dead, that was a test of that system.
Oh yeah,
because
personally myself, I would witness people like we're talking right now in front of me and drop dead within a second, and that was it. That's how fast it acted. China especially hit hard. Iran especially hit hard. Italy especially hit hard. There's a whole host of countries I could go through, but absolutely what you're talking about it's dead on.
Because at certain frequencies, I'm going to leave it with this, at certain frequencies and at certain energy levels and certain distances from certain types of, and I know it's certain, because it all is specific, certain types of broadcast tower equipment, such as antennas. Antennas are all based on basic physics and math equations, very simple to understand once you understand the basics. However, where the connection comes in is that certain nanotechnologies are enacted under a certain frequency range and wattage. And not only that, but a phasing of frequencies. You're talking about dealing with machines that are on the atomic level, that are made of atoms and molecules. So there is a resonance to every element out there, and every combination of elements is its own resonance. And there are hundreds of millions of them. It goes beyond that, even if you take into all that we have not yet quantified. The system was being put out there. There were voices saying it over the years. Yeah, the 6G equipment, blah, 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 et cetera. It's at 6.96 Gs that you've got a reaction with certain biogels. 6.7 to 6.99, in that range, you have the activation of actual, let's say, well, let's go back to, because this is essentially what they are, nanobots. Now, those nanobots can enter
Yes.
your body in any number of ways. Direct injection is the easiest and most efficient and most numerical in force. Others would be air, food, water, etc. This technology has been around for a long time.
Yeah, you know, and this, you know, when we were looking under the, so back in 2000, into 2022 to 23, when I phased out in 23, so we were looking under electron microscopes and some of the different variants. We could, and I have videos of this, and I'll share it with you guys. Is that you could see the virus come in, and it would replicate what a red blood cell would look like, and then it would attack the red blood cell, mimic the red blood cell, and then destroy it within itself. Kind of, and the red, when the red blood cell would be destroyed, it was almost like the red blood cell. Well, in the what it looks like through the video I'll share with you guys is the red blood cell just explodes after being taken over, and so there's.
And what's one of the chemicals released first that I learned through test results being botched? Potassium. What does potassium do? Stops your heart in high levels.
Yes, yeah, in high levels, yes.
Wow.
Let's not also forget the little tidbit here too. Okay, the graphene oxide, okay, in the shot, okay, was one thing, but you also had graphene oxide in the swabs that they used at the hospital when you went in to verify that you had it.
Yeah, the nasal swabs.
Yeah, where did those long ass Q-tips that would hurt your brain? How do I know? Because I had it done to me. All right, where were they made? China, because I saw it printed on the packaging before they did it. All right, then the vaccine, you had certain lot numbers. Some lots were just pure saline, like the one Sleepy Joe took in his arm that every videotape. Saline shots didn't do shit to you. Mm-hmm. There was another batch of lot numbers too that were
entire country. Israel, excuse me.
Yeah, that were kill shots. Okay, and those kill shots, those certain lot numbers, as Doc said here earlier, were distributed to certain countries that had the highest mortality rates. Okay, correct. That he just mentioned here earlier. That's correct. Aside from that, you also have to be wary when you go to not only, like Go said, any injection, especially where? The dentist. Okay, you know that numbing shot they give you when you go in for a deep cleaning, or as they call it, a deep prophy. Okay, there's allegations out there that state that they also have that 5G component with the nanobot stuff in it.
Right, and so
I'd be wary of everything.
So within the investigation itself, near the end, until I finished up and moved on, I had found out, and I'll share this publicly now, since everything else is out, is that they actively had put, let's just say, I'm going to keep it simple, that they had put the vaccine in your public water supply. They'd put it in manufactured water bottles. So even if you did not want to get the vaccine, you were going to get it one way or another. And there's so many different ways that they were distributing this. Another way is that they would think of chemtrails, right? And so they would put all the aerosolized dispersal agents in a container, and then they would take it up in a plane or a helicopter, and then they would drop it over a city, they would drop it over a state, or a major population itself. To where an example being where a lot of people did not want to get the vaccine and were doing a lot of protest against it was Newport Beach, California, Huntington Beach, California. And so what they would do is they would take drones at that time, or helicopters or planes, and they would disperse the dispersal agent, aerosol agent, all across, and you wouldn't be able to see it. It's not like normal chemtrails that you would see. but it would come raining down
Nor
on the
smell nor
population.
taste.
Correct. Yes.
Any relation to smart dust?
Very
Same family.
Yeah,
Same
very
family.
similar,
Okay.
same family. Yeah.
Wow. And oof. Dude, this whole thing was just so out of control. And so, like, they knew this stuff was coming, right? Like, I don't even need to play it because it's been played ad nauseum. Like, you know, the next administration is going to have to deal with this. And you can go back to Bill Gates and talking about the, you know, wanting, if we do a really good job, we can kill a lot of people. What the hell?
We can kill 80, 90% if we want. That's their thinking.
Unreal.
That's their thinking. Now, people have to ask themselves this, and seriously. And the president said, we've got to get on the 6G distribution, get it out there. Why is he saying that? Why did he say that about 5 or 6 weeks ago? Somewhere between 4 and 6 weeks ago. Why would he say that?
Nice.
Yeah.
And so for 6G, real quick, one of the major carriers that's going to be coming out first with 6G is T-Mobile and its subsidiary
Metro.
companies. Metro PCS, AT&T, and they're coming out with 6G.
I think they're exposing themselves. Look, they overtook. Excuse me, the hiccups. They overtook Sprint. They purchased them about 6 years ago. T-Mobile was headed by a Cuban gentleman. He came from the island like you did at a young age. T-Mobile is the first one that is trying to link up with Starlink in other words, you walk away from your router in your home, your phones now. And there's two ways of connecting always. You can turn off the router aspect and connect to the tower locally. A lot of carriers are trying to enforce, go through Wi-Fi calling. And then if you leave your home with T-Mobile with certain phones, you're then linked to Starlink. All right. Your average, the latest test on Starlink last week, I think there was over, oh my God, it was an incredible amount, 3,200 individual, somewhere in that range of a type of antenna, little plate antenna. Oh my God, I should know this. I should be smacked in the head right now. Phased array. Those are phased array. So each one of those satellites theoretically could address 2,000 individuals on the ground with any given footprint, an octagon basic footprint of signal generation and reception. Now, this is just one phase of many they're going through. Now, do I think that system is going to be used for anything negative, like any type of bioactivation? Of course not. That's going to be limited to your ground towers that are also in, what do they call them? Why do they call it a cellular phone? Because a tower interacts with a certain octagon range of cell capability of two-way radio communication. It's always been radio. Now, you have to ask yourself, why did the president say we got to hurry up with this? So far, what's proven the case is we've got to hurry up with this, including with Iran, is we've got to get ahead of other tables' agendas. Now, I honestly think that's why they're doing it, because he knows damn well what these towers are not, these little masts they put up along, all throughout southern Florida that are every 100, 200, 300 yards. those masts they're capable of not only 6G but up to 29 gigahertz. Beyond that, you're getting into the X-ray, gamma ray range when you get much higher than that, into the terahertz range. However, these towers are capable of much higher density signals, up to 29. I could be wrong. It could be have been expanded since my last foray into that and the information that I was given regarding that. So you're talking more powerful wavelength than is in your microwave. However, a biangulated or triangulated signal, people need to understand that the higher the frequency range from kilohertz, which is 1,000, say, vibrations per second, megahertz is million, gigahertz is billion, terahertz is trillion. Within the gigahertz range, the low gigahertz range, if you were to have a binary intersection, let alone 3 towers intersect, you're talking about radio waves that travel like a laser beam, the way light travels when it's focused, when it's stimulated emission radiation. It's a whole different concept, but the effect is the same. A radio wave that's maybe a 6-inch beam, if you could see it, it would look like a 6-inch beam of light going from one tower to another in the days of microwave communications, which we still have as a backup system, ground radio to all of the magnificent, wonderful shit we have now. But you can be boiled. That little fist size area within your abdomen, your chest can be boiled, can be brought to a boiling temperature with a crossing of these frequencies and wattage intensities. That's why you could be standing next to someone, Mike, and they dropped dead and you didn't. It was as if laser beams were being focused.
A perfect
this is for the audience. I know you understand this.
A perfect example of what you're saying is when I was working at Oak Ridge National Laboratory, and I was working with Dr. Amy Eskridge, and she was a victim of exactly what you're talking about. And I have so much evidence of what we had saved from her being victimized from exactly what you're talking about. Obviously I don't want to go into it because there's a federal investigation into it, but absolutely. I've seen this happen to someone right in front of me.
Yeah, 2 or 3 beams with a resonance sub and prime frequency, super prime and sub frequency that are slightly, let's say, off in frequency wavelength. When they meet, they create a giant wavelength, which translates to the rapid vibration of water molecules. And what are human beings? 73% of water. So this is what Mike is referring to and what I'm referring to in someone dropping dead right in front of you. These laser beams ascertain their position and then we're trained on them. They're not going to affect you if you're 3 feet, if you're a meter away, they're not going to affect you because they're not trained on you. But where they cross in that individual causes a small heating and internal explosion, if you will. And you're whatever system, whether it's the liver, the ascending, descending aorta, the heart, anything, it's going to cook, literally cook, and you're going to die from that effect immediately.
I'll give you a little bit of a tidbit here that's been.
But they want everybody. They want everybody worried about Savannah syndrome. That's child's play, and that's been around for 45, 50 years.
Armando?
Yeah, a little bit of a tidbit here that's been grossly underreported. So, COVID and Wi-Fi and all that stuff. So when the pandemic hit, okay, the vaccine obviously was implemented in Cuba, right? Now, because of, let's just say, because of underreported cases and the systemic healthcare limitations, the death toll underreportedly was 62,000 on an island of how many millions? Just call it 3.
9.
Right?
Is it 9 or
million?
3? I think
9 or
it's
3, doesn't matter. 62,000,
I'll
right?
find out.
Unreported. Right now, in Cuba, their cell service, okay, is state owned. Period. Okay. It was a culmination between China and Cuba, and they implemented a proprietary software that was called Nauta, Nauta. It was a proprietary software developed by Cubans for Cubans only, and the telecom provider was Etexa, ETECSA, which was also state-owned. Now, in order for you to get a good Wi-Fi reception like the YouTubers would use down there, or just to do like, use apps, to like WhatsApp, to talk with family in the States or around the world or whatever, you had to go to a Wi-Fi park, okay, to get the best reception. So now you have a gathering of a lot of people, okay? And as Spaceshot said here, guess who provided the phones and guess who provided the antennas? Huawei.
Oh, boy. Wow.
There you go. So you have a trifecta, right? They were affected greatly. So
it's a
little
10.9 million population as of last international estimates.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Oh, and
allegedly.
I got a little bit of
Allegedly.
I got a little, and stop me if I've already said this, because I don't know. I'm just all this information. I'm just like, holy crap. But I said this earlier. Like, wait, why would they remove this? Like, who cares about this? And Debbie, one of my mods in the chat, had a very interesting and I think on point answer. He said the big deal was Fauci got the shot on TV, and then later, shortly thereafter, basically had this happen to him. So, it was about 5 or 6 months. He did get the shot in late December of 2020 is what I said, or is what AI is showing me anyways. But, hey, they didn't want people to know that maybe after getting a shot, lots of people died.
He had a protein buildup in his pulmonary artery system. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
Well, the thing that concerns me, though, is what we're talking about, because the 6G thing is really, because I'm concerned about that, because as far as I understand it, the higher the G is, so say 2G would be kind of like a wave, and like say your average wave, 2G, and then 3G is like a faster, shorter wave, right?
2G is 2 billion wavelengths, or let's say up and down on an oscilloscope per meter.
And then so the more you
3G
go,
is 3 billion. 4G is 4 billion. And when you get up to 1,000 G, you're getting up to terahertz range.
I'm starting to be concerned,
which now means issues. 1 trillion wavelengths. Now to produce a higher wavelength per meter, and to make it effective, takes pumping energy into an antenna. You can pump. There are antennas out there pumping out 100,000 watts at any time. There are
good or bad
AM
for people
stations that. No, it's not necessarily bad, because when you're talking about AM frequencies, for example, in the kilohertz range, 50,000 watts of kilohertz, a few thousand wavelengths per meter, is not going to have any effect on you compared to the higher wavelengths. And then the wavelengths that specifically cause water molecules to vibrate faster.
Oh, okay.
All take the periodic chart of elements. All of them have a resonance. Matter of fact, Tesla tried to teach people that you're not looking at an atom in the construct of proton, neutron, electron, that we have made it, and electron shells, various layers of electrons flowing around it, making it a heavier or lighter element in the process. All of them are a resonance. And the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, the observation principle, a number of things show that when you go to observe this vibrational range in a direct application, it changes in front of your eyes. Physicists can tell you about this much better than I can. But the bottom line being that this is where spooky action at a distance and quantum physics and non-locality come into play, into physics, where physicists, certain physics have been classified, and even the best kaku brains out there aren't given access to it. It's compartmentalized. It's kept outside of the primary understanding of physics. So there are things at work here that we don't understand as doctors, as scientists, as physicists, as radio geeks, or what have you, because we haven't been allotted that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And there are large blocks that are missing from the everyday economic world of humanity and commerce, that if they were introduced, we would be in a whole different world. It would be unimaginable to most people right now. Unimaginable.
Yeah.
So we're talking about tools being implemented that, number one, it's easy to implement on a mass scale, and it's easy to affect. How many years do you think you're behind the curve in understanding what's really out there, to where you may not even know the difference of manipulation of your own brain as an individual? All of this is real. All of it exists. And all of it's coming down to a battle of what will be allowed and what will not be allowed. But we need to get to a further position of understanding before most of humanity can take part in that. And I fear that the vast majority of humanity won't.
I would just love to know, when can and if will medbeds be available to the general public to deal against all these viruses, diseases, and all this shit?
Well, it's odd enough. I heard some things about that the past few days in some conversations. The tachyon level technology is there, and then the lesser levels are there. To what extent, how, when, and it will be made available, if it's made available, still is left to be seen.
Well,
however,
it's available for tier 1 athletes, and it's available to tier 1 billionaires.
Well, tier 1 athletes and billionaires are not getting the full Monty either. They're only getting a limited aspect of it. But to speak any more on it would be stupid right now.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons.
No, I
Other
agree.
than to say that it does exist, that the restructuring of a native code based on your genome can be done. To say that can't be done would be just as stupid as saying, without any evidence whatsoever, any discussions or any knowledge whatsoever, it can't be done. It can.
You know why I brought it up?
No,
the reason why I brought it up, brother, is because of this. I tend to believe that whatever you see that Hollywood puts out in movies that seems so far-fetched, eventually you will see it coming down the line, because they're arrogant enough to fucking tell you about what's happening. So if you go back to
preparative and predictive programming, and yeah, you're right.
If you go back to the original movie Stargate, Okay. You'll notice when somebody got shot or they got stabbed, they put them inside the sarcophagus looking thing and they sealed it up and, they went into the solution and all of a sudden they remove it. It goes through its features. Person comes back to life or is healed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, isn't
I'm
that
gonna give you-
some sort or form of a med bed?
Yeah, and I'm going to give you
Okay.
a
There you go.
series that while I was having difficulty sleeping for 2 nights, I watched. It's called Altered Carbon.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I would recommend that to
Yes.
the whole audience because if you
Yes.
can wrap your head around that, again, it's Hollywood physics and Hollywood presentation and Hollywood wording.
Right.
However, there is a very solid reality behind what that is showing you. And the concept, the ancient Irish concept of soul cages, for example, it's not as far-fetched as people think.
Yeah, it goes up to the archons. The archons controlling it.
Yeah,
It's probably
and those in Genesis who made us in their image.
right.
So we could get way off and get in a lot of trouble real quick.
That's another show.
Yeah.
This is what they want to do in the future. So if anybody, and I have seen a few episodes of this, I don't know how many seasons. It looks like 2 seasons now. I've probably only seen 2 or 3 episodes, but it says it's a series based on a novel set in the future where, and remember, this is what these morons want to do now. In the future, where consciousness can be digitized and transferred between bodies, or what they're calling sleeves, making death impertinent for the wealthy. Interesting.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, you guys are talking about tier 1 athletes and actors or whatever getting the med beds, and unfortunately, the people that we've been scrolling on the screen for the last, I don't know. Yeah, the last 10 minutes, and they're doing
10 minutes. Yeah.
So this has been scrolling for 10 minutes, and they're doing, they're not sitting on every one for like a minute. They're literally doing like, here's one story, boom, here's another one, right? So they're, for 10
young
minutes straight.
athlete in their prime.
Yeah, I mean, and
doesn't
so,
get any better than that physically in your life. When you're in your prime, and there's nothing you can't do because there's nothing you can't do physically compared to other humans. And then something like this comes along.
Well, so for what we're watching on screen, I had asked my section chief during the time I was working there on what we were working on with COVID, and the people that were dying, I had asked them, is this a coincidence that people are dying from the vaccines? Is this to give a shortened answer from what my section chief had told me is that no, nothing is a coincidence. Everything is an action, and there's a background. There's a background for that action.
That's wild. I mean, somebody made one of these videos, pretty early on in COVID, and it was like 2 minutes. And I don't even think this is the original, person. Somebody ripped this one, I think, and put this one up. But this one's an hour and a half, 1 hour and 36 minutes of, look, just skipping through. Oh, some collapses. Oh, cardiac arrest. Oh, dies at 35. Dies
That's
after collapsing.
Not normal.
No, it's highly abnormal. And remember, they scared people to go get this shot because if you guys remember, early on, it's kind of like what Mike was describing a little earlier, or maybe Ghost with the convergence of the signals where people just drop or whatever. You remember, like, very, very, very early on, they were passing around videos, like over in China, a person recording from across the street. How they knew this person was going to collapse, I don't know. But all of a sudden, the person collapses. But then when you do like a little a little slow-mo, you're like, oh, wait, his hands popped up at the last minute. So we were getting reports of people just dropping, and then early reports of, oh, blood coming out of their nose and their ears. And that was like, the first few weeks of the craziness. Yeah. And then, oh, you better go get it. Like, dude, you guys know, like, I'm this tinfoil hat as it gets, right? But because of the ex-wife. Now I was, washing friggin' groceries, and then there was a period of time I was fake washing groceries. But after I realized it's not more than what it was and what we were dealing with here. But like they put a scare into people, and I think that's what they really need to key in on to wake people up.
Yeah.
And it looks like that's what they're doing, because they're laying everything out on Fauci right now, and it doesn't look like it's going away anytime soon. So more.
So,
Fauci's a good point of entry.
So
take a look at Walgreens. Take a look at Walgreens, for example. Up to a few months ago, locally here to me, you would go through the drive-through to pick up your prescriptions, right? And they had a huge ass sign right there. Hey, get your flu shot. And by the way, since you're here, get your COVID-19 shot also as well. Up to about 90 days ago, and they just took those signs down. They're no longer up.
I just had that offered along with a pneumonia shot, along with a hepatitis C shot, and a what do you call it when you get a cut? What's that one you get all the time? Tetanus. They offered me all of that. I just looked at him and I said, come on. How many times have you seen me? How many times have I said no? What do you think the answer is going to be?
2 months ago, I went for my annual.
And shingles.
Yep,
all
shingles.
That,
bingo.
The whole thing. And I'm like, if I'm going to get shingles, I've already got the medicine to deal with it. Nothing you can do about it. I'm not going to worry about it.
Yep.
I keep
Vitamin D
myself
shot
up.
too. Yep. I went in for my annual physical 2 months ago, and they offered me everything.
All of it. All of it.
All of it.
Didn't they?
And I declined each and every one. The doctor looked at me. She looked at me with this shit-eating grin on her face, and she goes, "Are you sure?" I go, "Yep, 100% positive."
Are you sure?
Don't
Sure,
want
I'm
anything.
sure.
So one thing I want to add in here too is in China, when we were trying to figure out how many people were dying, through COVID, was we started to use satellites using infrared and FLIR, and we had noticed they were churning old closed down automobile factories and other similar factories and converting them into
and the amount of floral and ash displays on the public.
So you would have the ash display, but they were converting these factories into very, very large cremation centers. And so all of the bodies that were being picked up of people that had passed away in China would be taken to a lot of these improvised cremation centers. And we were seeing these what you would call a U-Haul truck or a Penske truck, these yellow trucks, come in there, and they would pick up. We would have operators on the ground, and it was just containers of someone's ashes. And what was kind of sickening was it finally got to a point with the workers there, is that they would create these ash piles. They would put 2 or 3 people, sometimes 5, into a furnace, let the bodies burn. And then they would scoop out the ashes, put all the ashes into one mass pile, and then 12 hours later, they would have another team come in, and they would take the boxes or an urn if a family members are requesting the body or the ashes from the body, for the family. And unfortunately, what they didn't know is that inside of that urn,
50 different people.
There's 50.
Minimum.
Exactly. There's 50, 60, 100 different people inside of that urn. And there's so much
Disgusting.
to this. It's, it's saddening. But yeah, what Ghost was saying is through the satellite imagery, we were able to see exactly what they were doing with the bodies of the people that have expired. And they
what
were
about spectrographic analysis of emissions from those areas? I'm sure that said everything.
It did pop up and it did array on there. And we worked. I'll name one company. We worked with Maxar, and what Judd had worked for. We had worked with them as well. And that's how we got a lot of our information to create our reports and create our analysis briefings and everything. And then here in the States, here in the U.S. they wanted up doing something very similar. However, it was much more discreet into a lot of areas that were in the middle of nowhere. And if you remember, when I was working in the hospital for a good portion of time, when I did meet Renee, my lovely wife here, when somebody would pass away, 90% of the time, 95% of the time, and correct me, babe, if percent I'm wrong, they wouldn't classify the death as dying from COVID. And they would say it was from heart failure, it was from an appendix, it was from something else.
You died with COVID.
Even motorcycle accidents.
Yeah.
If they had COVID, they tested positive for COVID, it wasn't the motorcycle accident listed, it was the COVID that was listed.
Nice vape voice.
$35,000. $35,000
So whatever intake hospital got them, and then it worked both ways. That's the crazy thing about it.
Yeah. Well, you didn't die of COVID, right? They died with COVID. Certain people, they were just tacking it on. It's horrendous. I mean, the whole damn thing, and this guy and anybody that was involved and had foreknowledge of this stuff needs to absolutely see some serious justice. And I got a feeling, either way.
And
who turned the other head for 35 grand to 50 grand at death.
The space, what you're talking about right now is since 2019, I was in China in October of 2019 when everything started to unravel. That's why we were sent over there in the first place. Since then, or since the inception when that all started, I knew something bad, really bad was going to happen. And so I had kept a lot of information, because I knew one day all of this was going to happen and all of this was going to unravel. And, and now, an example of today, I'm sharing you information that a lot of people have never seen before to know how the virus, one of the, a virus has been created and manipulated in one way or another. And I want this information to get out correctly and be shared in the right way. With in 2023 in Ukraine, we were working with Department of Justice, DOJ, SIS, and that's when Russia was hitting all of the biolabs in Ukraine, and DOJ had created a task force to do the same thing that the Russians were doing. And now what I know today is that our side was pretty much trying to clean house, sanitize, and make it look like nothing was there.
Russia was trying to protect itself.
Right. And while Russia was, you could say serving its search warrant and, tackling and taking the place down, but also letting the world know about it. And on our side, unfortunately, it was the opposite. Wow. And that's just the way it was.
I'll tag this in here in the end. Let's not forget the PSYOP component with this entire thing also as well, because that played a huge part in it, in my opinion, also as well, right?
And
big time.
Also, yes, exactly. And part of that is trying to turn it against the current administration, which is doing everything. I don't care how black-pilled you are. If you are, get the fuck over it.
Mm-hmm.
Get over it. If you don't see what's really happening, it's you and everybody you love and care about who's in the firing line. So get your shit together and start looking at reality. one thing I think where the mission failed thus far doesn't mean ad infinitum or failed eventually at all is mainstream media and shutting their damn mouths.
Yeah.
Damn it, if you take them from the sovereign layer and you take them to task, you can get their top editorial staff and you can bring them all up on charges of sedition, treason, everything, because they've been a part of it. You have to, no one has, General Flynn wrote his books. Others and myself have commented in those areas before he even wrote the books. So when is someone going to make the claim the United States has been hoodwinked, lied to, the population raped and taken advantage of for generations, and say enough is gee, the current administration is trying to do that now. Most of you aren't seeing it.
Yeah.
Because if you do see it, you get behind what you knew to get behind. This isn't about somebody else fixing your problems. Yes, this administration and the many surrounding individuals, thousands of them, who are quietly working in the shadows in support of what's going on, have always been, no matter who was in office, no matter what fraud was in office, such as Gay Barry or Monkey Boy Bush. It didn't matter. Okay? They've been working in the background. And it's all coming to the surface now, has been for the last 2 years. And anybody who looks back at beyond, again, I say the collective memory, unfortunately, is a 3-year span. Many things are in numbers of threes, whether it's timing.
If I can make an observation here with
Jump
you,
in, brother. Jump in.
Is all the information that we had collected and obtained, and we had shared it with multiple agencies, multiple organizations, and more importantly, we shared it with the president. And when we shared that information with the president, it went through multiple people before it got to the president, and let's call those gatekeepers. And then those gatekeepers withheld or redacted or took out information from the president.
Yep.
So the president could not act on all of the factual information that was obtained scientifically or medically, and they prevented him from being able to do what he could have done better, unfortunately. And that's what we were fighting against back then. And that's the unfortunate truth.
Still are today. It's called in DC. It's called being cock block. I mean, and the only reason why I brought up the PSYOP component was because of what? Remember, not so long ago. Oh my God, the Ebola breakout, right? Disappeared from the news.
Oh,
gone.
Look.
Then it was the explosive diarrhea. Then it was the explosive diarrhea, right? Your leafy greens, Taco Bell, right? Disappeared from the news. Gone.
Yeah.
And now the latest one. Oh, Dad's out there floating a possibility of another fourth run.
Yep.
Right?
You know
PSYOP,
why?
Or is it real?
Well, here's how you play that game, though. You put out stories like the possible pathogens. They are having trouble in Congo and Uganda right now. I know that for a fact. However, it will quell. It will be handled. But yet they've been throwing one, because here's the flip side of the next bio release. Anybody and everybody suspected to be and this is, I'm just saying it out loud. Anybody, no matter who you think you are in Europe or anywhere in the world, you're part of the next bio release. You're a dead motherfucker.
Hell yeah.
Take that to the bank. Nobody's playing that game. So the best they could do, guys, with what we were tracking and tracking correctly was the next bio release. But how much in the messaging and the scientific information was too conflicting from one message to another, because the messengers messenger writers aren't smart enough to keep it all in order. You're not going to find that in human beings. What worries me is they find it in AI. And they get further.
Fact, yeah.
Yeah, and they get further with their bullshit announcements that have nothing behind them except maybe a very weak pathogen they threw on board a ship to make a bunch of people sick and then claim it's something else. This is where it gets scary. This is why corruption must be cleaned before AI, ASI, AGI, XAI come into being.
Absolutely.
Has to be cleaned out. Or we're in a world of not hurt, but hell.
Skynet
And
much?
I'm not shaving anything off that statement.
Well, I hope he does make a fourth run, just in my opinion.
Yeah.
Me too.
Very
Just saying.
possible. Well, I
And
mean,
you know what?
Okay.
Constitutionally speaking, he sure as hell can. But the rest, 30% of the country has to grow the fuck up first. Excuse me on that. I didn't. No, don't excuse me. I said what I said.
You said it, and I love it. But here's the extra little bit of salt on the wound too, right? I'm gonna let you guys hear a little bit of this clip here. Actually, might play most of it. But remember, this is. Well, she'll say most of it, I think. Here we go.
President's travel restrictions. I noted what was the intent behind those travel restrictions, which is we will not see the coronavirus come here. I guess I would turn the question back on the media and ask similar questions. Does Vox want to take back that they proclaim that the coronavirus would not be a deadly pandemic? Does the Washington Post want to take back that they told Americans to get a grip? The flu is bigger than the coronavirus. Does the Washington Post likewise want to take back that our brains are causing us to exaggerate the threat of the coronavirus? Does the New York Times want to take back that fear of the virus may be spreading faster than the virus itself? Does NPR want to take back that the flu was a much bigger threat than the coronavirus? I'll leave you with those questions and maybe you'll have some answers.
Exciting to be here, especially at this time, to be able to be unified with our community. We want to be vigilant about what it might be on the what is out there in other places. We want to be careful about how we deal with it, but we do want to say to people, come to Chinatown. Here we are. We're, again, careful.
The liquor stores are
safe,
just as good here.
And then you had a
Where's
repeat
my
of the same
vodka?
thing. Yep, the same thing, and you had an
Where's my
Asian man in New York City doing the same thing. Oh, we're hardy people in New York. And so, again, what were they saying? President Trump, proclamation on suspension of entry as immigrants and non-immigrant persons who pose a risk of transmitting 2019 novel coronavirus. He's a racist. He doesn't want foreigners here. He's a racist. No big deal. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. Don't need to shut the borders down. Why would you do that? That's the crap he was getting, and we were all getting. We were all given an absolutely shitty bill of lading on this whole situation. It was just bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
And you know what? And when we relayed the information that, people were lily pad jumping from, China to Thailand to get to America, as an example, that information was cock blocked, just like you're saying. And so it wasn't getting to him. And it's just, it was complete, total fucking obfuscation.
Yep.
If I can say the word correctly, by these assholes. And those assholes, then would go around and work with the media and tell them what to say. And that's just, it is what that's what it was.
I'm a first-hand witness to information provided. And what happening to it is exactly as Doc Mike is laying out.
Those
I'm a
people
witness
should be
several
taken out.
times where it has gone where it needs to go, and it should not have been in one way, shape, or form by these mental half-wits manipulated. For the only reason they would is because it's in their covert activities that they're doing it.
They got skin in the game, bro. It's called dollars. Come on.
dollars, but it's covert.
Yeah.
It's covert, and it's there, and it's alive still to a degree.
You got chain of custody?
No one's been making a big deal about the fact that they've been getting that influence, no matter what direction it came from. That means country, out of there. Some has been left to ferment because every damn thing they do, every fart, belch, breath they take is being recorded. And they're too stupid to know it.
Interesting. Now, guys, is there any sort of chain of custody on that type of stuff? Like when you guys present a report and, okay, I hand it to John's, all right, we'll just say Mr.
Depends.
Spaceshot hands it to Armando.
Right there.
Okay.
It depends what channel it goes through. Some channels, it never happened. Other channels, there might be 2 or 3 people in the loop.
I mean, something like that, like on a task force.
Those are the worst damn channels to deal with. When you got to deal with the rules and regulations.
So for a task force, you would be surprised of how they will make it not want to work for their own safety and guidance to keep the task force going, so they don't have to go back to their regular.
And the budget coming.
Right.
Keep the money coming.
And working on the task force, you're also given a pay incentive, which is an increase in pay or whatever else is given to you. But it's common, and just like Ghost is saying, it's not a shocker. It's definitely not a shocker.
So these people have it in their own best interest to keep whatever group that they're working with going. Oh my God!
And I've seen it where task force it's been dissolved, it's over with, and something went wrong, and the people that did not get in trouble at that time, they did everything by the book, by the protocol. They were the ones that got in trouble, and the people that should have gotten in trouble, which would have been the leadership, they wound up getting promoted to a director, or deputy director, or a lieutenant or captain somewhere, and then the task force agent or sergeant, whoever it is, winds up taking the fall for it, when in fact they had nothing to do for it.
Nothing to do with it.
It's called being burned and swept under the rug.
It's traditionally known as the Peter principle. You ascend by failure.
Yep. Failure to the top, brother.
Yeah, I've seen it in everything from operational to every 3 or 4 different professions. I've seen it uncannily work. It doesn't work for the betterment of people. I'll tell you that right now.
Nope.
Wow.
But I think we're in a different time. That's why we're talking about these things the way we are. And not just this show, but others. Go ahead, bro.
So I can tell you one person who has benefited off of getting in trouble, but also getting promoted at the same time for the longest time in his career, is DHS Mayorkas.
Oh yeah, he's a dipshit.
So Mayorkas is the prime example of, okay, I'm in trouble, but I'm going to make sure the people under me take the blame for it, and I'm going to get the promotion so I can get out of here and get the promotion to a better place to work. And
I'm gonna ride race and whatever you can.
Prime example.
I'll tell you something else about that prime example, and this is my theory. It's just a theory for anybody listening out there. I think Mayorkas is Cuban intelligence. I don't know. Call me crazy.
I think I smell something there. And it ain't a fart.
And it ain't a cigar either.
Nope.
All right. Since you guys are
of course,
in such...
this is just our humble opinions.
My humble opinion, strictly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, yours on that one. That's yours.
Have you seen him in the news lately?
Nope.
No. Just like Redfield, right? No. Gone.
Burks too. Last time I saw her, boy, she looked different too. She looked a lot different.
See,
senor. I got a funny one for you guys. I think you'll
Good,
very
we need
much.
some funny.
Oh no!
I got something for you. I got something for you. You need to drop here whenever you feel ready.
Absolutely. If I can just
The second
find
link
it.
up in our chat.
What you
A
got?
couple cheap
okay.
jokes, but that's about it.
Where the heck did this thing go? And obviously we had Flimsy Graham's funeral today as well. So that's not the funny part, but he did have his funeral. But here we go. I'm not gonna play the whole thing. It's 4 minutes, but this is funny as hell.
Oh God!
You seen this?
I'm a
Bad
time
old
traveler
person.
from the year 2025, and I've come here to kill you, Hitler.
Oh, not again. I'm never gonna have enough time to finish these paintings with all of these time travelers trying to kill me.
Well, I'm going to succeed.
Before you pull the trigger, can I just ask why? Why do all of you people want to kill me?
Isn't it obvious? I'm a progressive, a liberal, a fighter for social justice. And you are a fascist who implemented a reign of terror. And while the effects of your policies devastated the world for decades, soon we will be able to take back the White House, and we will be able to use the government to force people to follow our great ideas.
You want to use government power to force your ideas on the populace. Me too! That's fantastic!
What? No. Ugh. You and I have nothing in common. What I'm saying is there are people in our time with dangerous ideas, and we need to silence them.
Silencing those who disagree with you. I do that too! Oh, wunderbar! Oh, the Nazi movement will not die with me.
Don't give me that! I'm enlightened, and you're as bad as, well, as Hitler. Listen, what I'm trying to say is we are very close to implementing a utopia, as long as we can get rid of some certain undesirable people groups.
Yes, like the Jews.
Yes, like the Jews. Oh.
So in the future, you also do not like the Jews?
Well, no. But we don't believe in segregating all the races like you do. I mean, except for like graduation ceremonies. In dorms. And hiring practices. Oh, and admissions policies. That sort of thing.
I too am a fan of the segregation. I'm sorry, I have to ask, is this a real firearm or is this some kind of toy for kids?
It's a flare gun. I'm trying not to support America's toxic gun culture. I'm a firm believer in gun control.
Gun control! This was one of my ideas too. Ban them from the undesirables. Yes, look here. Oh, and your shirt. This is an organization founded by Margaret Sanger. Yes?
Wait, you know about Margaret Sanger?
Jawohl, of course.
This is brilliant.
Oh, she's such a lovely person.
No. She's a fighter for reproductive rights, for women's empowerment,
and the eradication of undesirable populations by means of eugenics. Brilliant lady, very inspiring. I must use some of her ideas in our socialized healthcare system.
Socialized healthcare? That's not your thing. That's our thing.
Oh no, it's very much my thing. Did you know that Nazi means
this is
National
hilarious.
Socialist German Workers' Party? Nazi is just more catchy. Nazi. Rolls off the tongue.
No. This can't be true. This has to be some sort of mistake. We are nothing alike. You're Adolf Hitler, evil right-wing fascist dictator, and I'm a feminist restorative justice advocate. And a vegetarian.
You're a vegetarian?
Me too.
Me too!
Okay, I am so confused right now. I came here with a clear goal in mind to kill the most evil man to have ever lived.
With
So that's
flare
Ronald
gun.
Reagan. But now that I'm meeting you in person, you're not at all what I thought you were. And your painting is actually really good. What do you call it?
Just like Mandami.
An empire without Jews.
Wow. I don't know what that means.
God.
It sounds beautiful.
It
It does. Doesn't it?
Dude, I loved that one.
Oh my God, that was brilliant. Whoever wrote that.
It's like, me
was
too.
brilliant.
I mean, wasn't
Yeah,
he
me too.
Isn't he the reason, and I'm not trying to prop him up and say he was a great guy or anything like that, but wasn't he the guy that put it out there for like animals or pets' rights, right? Like
Oh yeah. The truth of history is often shocking to people who've been pre-programmed. Yes, he was an animal rights. He loved animals. Loved his dogs. His one dog in particular, German Shepherd, of course.
German.
He was
just a shepherd.
He was a
Yes.
vegetarian. He didn't believe in immorality, promiscuousness.
Heard he was
He
gay
didn't
though.
believe. No, he wasn't gay. That's MI, the predecessor. That was MI7 and SOE that came out with those things. Like he used to let Ava Braun whip him while he was in his boxer shorts, kind of thing. It was all propaganda. It was not. It was not. And even the guys like Dulles and Donovan and those who were cowboys back in those they knew all that was lies too. But it was, it was the way you handled things from a propaganda perspective in those days. However, yes, this points out something very true. The progressives who think they're so far ahead in their thinking, in other words, ideas without wisdom, that's a progressive.
And that girl that's in that video playing that role is exactly what we're pumping through academia in present time at everyone.
Exactly. And they are convinced to their core, to their soul, that what they're doing is because the older generations didn't know. No, the older generations know more, way more than you think they do, and can tell you how things are going to work out before you even finish your plan. And that's just a reality. We've lost, I'll just say this about the Western world, we've lost respect for what age brings to the human mind and spirit. And we've lost respect. We lost a long time ago respect for our ancestors. And that's one lesson, huge lesson I think we can take from Japan, Korea, China, all of the East, is a respect for who came before us, why they came, and what they wanted for you, and then how bad you fucked it up and didn't live up to that. And it's never too late to learn moral responsibility. It's never too late to learn where your compass is fixed. And if it's true, it's never too late for anyone at any age to learn that. But these lessons are eternal. And that, I think, is a brilliant piece of work. Didn't have to be any more than 4 minutes to make the point that, yeah, you want a guy. Hitler was known for being excessively flatulent all the time.
Was he really?
Yes.
Just like Chuck Schumer.
Yeah, not the drugs, the food. He would eat barley, oats, peas, all the vegetables, but not counter it. Oh yeah, I love them too. And I'll tell you what, I'm just as bad probably as any other guy my age, in the same respect. But and I'm not going to lie about it. I'm a human being, and I eat the wrong things. I'm gonna give me onion rings. You ain't gonna want to be in the same house with me the next day.
Turns into a fart box.
Exactly.
Or kimchi.
It turns it. Yeah, or kimchi, I can semi-control that, but fried onions or onion soup, leave the house the next day. But I say all that as a joke because, yeah, he was known as being excessively flatulent because of his dietary choices and not to eat meat. I don't know if he ate fish. I don't know that much about the guy. Other than everything they covered in here, they did cover a truism related to both of their basis of thinking. And the colors, even the red, the black, and the white, they have the most striking unconscious effect on human beings, whether people know it or not. And those, like when they showed Barry Soetoro, rather, the gay guy, Barry Soetoro, who was president, aka Barack Obama. Look at then the graphics that came out. They weren't in black, red, and white, but they were in red and blue. They were they were muted. And look, symbology has a purpose for being, that it's more complex than a simple graphic or color combinations. However, when you want to start at the beginning, you start with graphics and color combination.
Mm-hmm.
And people will remember a time when Reagan was president. And if you don't, then we're talking Mandela effect here. And I don't want to get into that. Reagan, at the time of Reagan, the Republicans were blue.
Oh, it's the
Blue.
switch.
Everything was blue. That was conservative. I'm not going to say I don't want to get political, because honestly, people will say I'm a political man, and honestly, at the core of my being, I'm the least I'm apolitical. I don't give a shit about your politics because it's all a game. What I do care about is your moral compass straight, because that determines whether you are liberal or conservative. And you can be both at the same time. You can embrace both at the same time if the solution to the problem is the best solution. I don't care where it comes from.
Yep.
Okay? And we've been at the biggest psyop this country fell for, beginning around 2010, was your entire left-right leaning. And Obama was Barry Hussein. Obama was the one they utilized to make that contrast become a reality, to where they could build then to the absolute divisions we have now. And whether you're conservative and educated or intelligent, I don't care what you are, or you're left and you're moronic and you're limited and you're emotional based in your thinking, you've all been played. This has been the number one message that so many have been trying to tell you with every subject matter they grapple onto. All of you have been played. And again, borders, language, culture. The United States is still intact. We are the nation that has to remain intact. Let's start making the smart decisions and not the ideological based decisions. Ideologies are limited by design. They're meant to keep you in a box. Religious thinking is meant to keep you in a box. Not God at all. Religious thinking. Political thinking is meant to keep you in a box, to where the answer to your problem is always external. And I got a piece of information for everybody in this audience and everyone who may hear this 1,000 years from now. You are the source of your fucking problems. You are the source of where you are. It's not, yes, it's exacerbated by the stupidity, well, to the left and right of you. But you're the source. Accept that. Guess what? Master it. Life becomes better. However, in the meantime, we have been successfully divided. we have been, again, if you want to talk about that step in the American public, and I'll leave it at this, division of the American public has been a goal, a mission, and it's been captured. And only we can turn that back. And that's the hard part.
Yeah. That two-party system bullcrap is, it worked, right? But then we realize now that these people are working for themselves and their own best interest. So the whole party line thing needs to go out the window. But yeah.
We need, again, we got AI coming online. We got the best of humanity among us because we've got more of us than ever right now. We can fix this. We're on the road to fixing it. But it's just we have to do these shows constantly to tell people, stop falling for the mainstream media because it's a lie. It's a narrative. It's a story. Stop falling for this because it's a story.
They are the tip of the spear in the programming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if that can, and there is a noetic virus that can be created that can pull people away from that. And anytime you come close to presenting that, you're going to get a bullet in your head or you're going to get marginalized. It's one of the two. Pick it. It matters how well you make your case. Because neither side wants to give up control on this planet. However, the one that is winning for control at this point allows you to think that. Why? Because it is moral and it is just. And there is a true opposition to all that's been going on, in particular the last 500 years. Forget about the last 3,000. Let's just stick with the last 500. We're coming out of that through discussions like this, slowly but surely. But the opposition will always throw something up. Human intelligence is a constant. Where it's dispersed and how it's used, that's also under least control than most people would think, and even the controllers would think. So it's time that all sides, I'm going to leave it at this, all sides recognize the answer to what's happening now hasn't even been spoken yet. It can be, but are you ready to hear it?
I think so. I don't think everybody is, though. Unfortunately.
I agree.
Unfortunately, there are some slow folks out there.
Well, that's where the pain comes in. Humanity then records it as, oh, this was a terrible time in history. We need to even retool how we look at those times in history, because it's never black or white. It's
By the way,
billion shades of gray.
To coattail on what Ghost just said, and I don't know if this is true or not, okay, but I believe it could be true. If you guys are readers of books and you particularly like history, especially novels that are hard to get, start stocking up on those now. Because from what I saw, I don't know which AI company it was, they're starting to buy out and order through Amazon tons and tons of very rare actual truth in books, and they're shredding them on purpose so they can have AI rewrite those books and give it to you in digital content, but altered.
If you have an old copy of 1984, put it on PDF, give it to everybody you can imagine. Send it out 1,000-fold. Every book, every classic you can imagine. They'll change words in Moby Dick.
And I'll tell you this, Sun Tzu's Art of War also as well. Buy it. It's cheap. Yep. You're going to want to read it later.
And get all the Black's Law dictionaries you can. I wish I were a vendor of them. I'd be making money after this, but buy all the Black's Law dictionaries. Every version you can. in particular 5th, 8th, and 11th, but get them all and have them. Because when books die, well, humanity's not on a good trajectory.
Well, we've had book burnings before in history, haven't we, Ghost?
Oh yeah, and Hitler burned a lot of books, but a lot of the books they burned, they considered, which never should have been burned, they considered, well, anathema to their goals. Anathemic to I probably screwed that word up 3 times just now, but you know what I mean, to their goals. But how they cloaked the book burning was fascinating. How they got people to engage in it was fascinating. All right. Yeah, you say, well, Nazi, Nazi, Nazi all day long. No, all of you modern progressives, you are, what you don't understand, and I'll leave it at this, is you are the embodiment of Nazism. But Nazism, and you don't even understand what their form of Nazism was. It was nationalista, Arbeit. No, it was Arbeit. Basically, it was the Nationalist Workers' Party. It was a German-centric nationalist workers' party. It was a pure amalgamation of industry with Krupp Steel, with IG Farben, with Siemens, a number of companies that are still thriving to this day. Yeah, Volkswagen, all the people who love the Volkswagens, all the hippies in the 60s were driving around Hitler and Ferdinand Porsche's design.
And don't forget Bayer too. Bayer Pharmaceutical.
Bayer, yeah. And they're still in a lot of trouble in Spain and Germany to this day, Bayer, because of a lot of games they've played and a lot of things they've put out in the past. That aside, you're looking at, IBM provided the punch card systems for the death camps and the labor camps, because there were 2 different kinds. There were death camps and there were labor camps. Now, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it with this. If you think nuclear weapons don't exist, you're a fucking idiot and you know nothing about physics. 0, less than 0 of what you can prove to yourself in your kitchen. You think the earth is flat. You were sold a bill of goods by a DARPA PSYOP program. I've given you the name. I've given you the amounts he was given to start it off. That totaled slightly under $1 million. We've given you so much information that we can see that this ultimate fight is not a fight of politics or ponerology or any of that. It is truly good against evil, light and dark. It's those who want and who are more than capable of, because on average, you and the public are smarter than those in given positions in government, but you're not smarter necessarily than those in given positions in the private industry that this country has allowed to integrate so well, so that records can be obfuscated and FOIA requests only get you so far. I think there should be a law that if you contract with the government, you come under FOIA, all FOIA regulations. But that's me. I'm a decent guy. I'm a fair guy. I think everyone should have the same level of let's say, level playing field. So we still have a lot to reconcile with domestically, but we can do that. Why? Because that's what we do as Americans. We'll admit to our mistakes. we'll own up to them. And just like with Iran right now, the president will call psychotic idiots exactly what they are and what is being dealt with there. I don't think we're going to have the same thing. We're going to have the same psychotic idiots, but it's not going to be as big of a problem in Cuba. But everyone lost focus upon what the end goal was. The end goal was to rid as much corruption on the surface of Earth as possible. And if that's not your ultimate goal, then you're just a spectator. And I don't buy the get your popcorn and sit back and watch the movie. No, you are the movie, every single one of you. In what you buy, who you buy it from, who you do business with, who you give your money to, who you keep your money from. You have all the power and don't even realize that. There were people years ago, remember Armando days, they asked, well, what can I do?
Yeah.
And the answer we always gave them was, watch where you spend your money. Really research who you're giving your money to. No, go ahead.
Speaking of that, I highly recommend this. I've read it. I've researched it. I have spoken about it on the podcast. Another rare book that you should get, if you can afford it. The used copy on Amazon right now, I'm looking at it, is $171. It used to be as high when I first discovered it was $700. Why? They don't want you reading it.
The Keys to Enoch?
No, Vatican Assassins.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Another must read.
That's a must read, guys. Vatican Assassins, Wounded in the House of My Friends by Eric John Phillips. San Francisco liberal who wrote this book. It took him over 20 years to finish it because he researched the crap out of this, verified everything with notes and sources described in this book. Okay. I'll just tell you this. If you can get past chapter 3 without your head exploding, you're a good person. Keep reading it. Must have in your book collection. Trust me. It tells you everything. Literally.
They're gonna
Hey
be
man,
doing
don't
that.
forget about my Cuba drop, man.
No, I'm not gonna. No.
We're pressed on time.
Yeah, we got so we got about 20 minutes, guys. If you got to do a pee break, I'm gonna do a quick Rumble commercial. So if anybody's got to do a pee break, go right ahead.
Wait, you know what? I never get back in time when you're done. So drag this one out. It's about 30 seconds long. Come on, buddy. Drag it out 30 seconds.
It'll be good. You can go at your leisure, sir.
Okay.
All right. I'm muting them just so I don't have to hear them there. It'll mess me up if I hear them. They're muted out anyways over here, but we'll be right back with these fine gentlemen in 1 second. Just going to do something here to keep the lights on, and then I'm going to go outside after the show is done and yell at some little kids who are screaming at the top of their lungs for no good reason. Yeah, and I'm that old man now, apparently. I realized I just turned into my grandfather. No. All right, guys, we hear a lot about crypto, but here's the part most people miss. Crypto was created so you could actually own and control your own money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. So instead of a bank holding your money, delaying transfers, or limiting access, you're the one that's in control. And if you ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you felt that problem too. Now fast forward to today. Everybody's heard of crypto, but getting started still feels complicated. And that's exactly why I use Rumble Wallet. It takes all that complexity and it makes it simple. Choose what you want: Bitcoin, dollar-backed stablecoins, or even digital gold backed by real gold. No complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank and be up and running in minutes. And once you're set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators like me directly. So do this now. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description and download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, tap buy, and you are in the game. And in just a few minutes, you can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. Ghost, you back yet? Ghost, back yet? Ghost, you back yet? You back? Oh, okay. Night. I'm just busting.
I'll say another thing. You were talking personally the other day in the chat about feeling like your grandfather. Look, I can't
wish.
get it up part. I don't want to hear about that. That's too personal.
All right. You know what?
So-
you did it. You did it. So now you're gonna get it. I got you.
I got one coming back.
Where's that email? I was gonna. All right. I'll just say what it was. I don't want to have to pull the thing up. I had a zinger ready for you, and I was like, I don't know. I don't want to bust his balls too much. There was a part of that study that Mike shared, and you probably, if you remember the study, you'll remember where I'm going with it. But it talked about. I was like, oh, is this when Ghost came into the investigation? It said something about something homo. And I was like, is this when Ghost joined the team? But I had it, and I put it in the holster, and there you came out firing on me. See that? See what a guy does? Oh God. All right. So now I gotta
one thing I wanted to mention on the Vatican assassins, Eric John Phelps, make sure it's the
Vatican assassins
unabridged version. Yeah, make sure it's the unabridged version. Over 1,000 pages is the unabridged.
God, yeah, I'm gonna end up having to have a conversation with my neighbors.
I think.
Oh boy.
I think between the three of us, we probably have the full unabridged version. I know I have. Yeah.
Wow.
I got a whole bunch of things staring at me on the bookshelf here, and that was one of them, unabridged. My wife reminded me of it while I was peeing, mind you.
Very interesting. All right, we got Mr. Armando is back as well. Now, let me see. Let me pull Mr. Armando back up on the screen here, and then we got two stories. So you sent one earlier that I have here, but then I also have another one from earlier. So I'm gonna pull that one up just so we have it, because I don't know. Actually, I don't know if you had dropped it or somebody else had dropped it. This is just another aside, by the way, guys, because I had so many links for our show here that I think we touched maybe 4 or 5 or 6 out of about 500. Literally out
That's
of about
Ghost's fault.
4.
That's
No,
Ghost's fault.
great conversation. That's I much rather it goes in that direction. No, I know, but I do much rather, it kind of flows and we just take it wherever it goes. But Pulte here is saying the fifth guys, the 5th round, near final round of terminations, and they said another 30% staff reduction from even weeks ago. All right, where's that other link here?
Interesting.
Yeah, Armando, I think I don't think you had shared this one. I think I had shared this one.
No, that wasn't me. That wasn't me.
Yeah, this one right here is the one I'm talking about. It wasn't me. I wasn't there. Couldn't say I wasn't me. It wasn't me. All right, so this one is the one that you dropped here. Cespedes.
That's the one.
So this says alleged. All right, so it's all right. So I'll say, then you can confirm. So it says alleged drone captured flying over #Cuba matches the description of the Iranian Shahed 136. If this is real, the U.S. is in danger at this moment. Armando?
I said no for a reason. Okay. It's yes, it is Iranian, but no, Iran did not provide these to the Cubans. Okay. Reports out there are saying 300. It's more like 3,000. Always add a zero to the end of it. Nope, was not.
China?
Yes, sir. China's the one that provided 3,000 of these toys to the Cubans a while back ago. How do I know?
Yep.
Okay, Doc says makes sense. How do I know? So you guys, I've talked about it. You guys here probably don't know, but my cousins who reside in Cuba, one of the brothers, one of the two, the eldest one, became a U.S. citizen, resides now in Miami, and he sent me a communication along with mother confirming this. Why? His little brother got a job working at the ports, at the docks, but on the western side of Cuba, where their alleged Coast Guard huge base is, okay, in my province, okay? He personally offloaded the ship that brought these things in. He knew what they were, and he counted them. It's 3,000.
And were they in the Connex containers?
They were in some sort of a container, but he knew what they were because a lot of these idiots, they're so stupid that they actually opened it up out of curiosity. The state, not them, the state opened it up and he got a glimpse of it. He knew exactly what it was.
Right.
Because you can tell, right? Then they covered it back up and they hauled it away. Now, remember me saying to you guys off on the back channel earlier that they got moved, right? When everybody was reporting that 300 of these were in Cuba and this and that and whatnot. And yeah,
what's
we got
300?
the technology.
Seriously, what's 300?
300 is nothing. It's 3,000 of them.
Add the zero. Like
there you go. So they moved them.
Always say.
They moved them to Mariel Harbor and those facilities there because strategically it's easier. Okay, number one. Now, I know that we have the technology to bring these things down. However, those kind of numbers, just like we were being experienced over in the Middle East, okay, how many of them actually got through undetected?
Quite a bit.
That's where the problem is.
Yeah.
Can I pose a question here to everybody on this panel? You can harden your car. So a nuclear blast could go off 140 miles above your head and your car would be fine. You can harden, and this is with consumer items. You can do that. You can harden your home. Why aren't they hardening the very simple radio, satellite, let's say, guidance system, basically, in a nutshell? Why can't they harden that in these drones? It's not that difficult to do. It's called wrapped copper tape. It's called grounding to the body correctly.
Because
nobody's done that. Nobody's done that yet, which I find fascinating. Because even the small drones, right? Because someone is ginning up a new era of weaponry and countering that weaponry. And this is all monkey shit. Because how these things fly, very simply, they use the same GPS system you use in your Nissan or whatever you drive.
Mm-hmm.
Same GPS. It's there. It's got the entire planet down to 1 centimeter squares. Every surface, constantly being the timing difference between satellites in orbit and time on the surface of the Earth. Milliseconds, all matters. Constantly being fed this GPS system. Now, Starlink does mark a secondary and backup and more accurate and more effective and faster GPS system. But why hasn't anyone hardened these cheap to make, pennies on the dollar, not even pennies on the dollar, fractions of a penny on the dollar compared to a latest, let's say, iteration of the Patriot. Excuse me with the hiccups again. Patriot. There's a long game being played here again with keep the public interested in these stupid fucking retarded drones. I could build that with the fabrication tools I have in my garage. I'm not exaggerating. Anybody with metallurgy, electronics experience, even to a lesser degree, can learn very quickly to build something like this in their garage. And the 2 or 4 cylinder, 1 or 2 stroke engine it's going to take to run this thing. This to me is, again, one of those big glaring WTF are you looking at, and are you seriously buying this shit? I'm not. And guess what I'm going to tell you now? Even the deaths of American servicemen because of these weapons all serves in a story that's much bigger than any one of us put together. And you've got to accept the realities of it. If you don't accept the reality of this and what I'm saying, and this day and age, its use, you can't accept the reality of how things have been played and how we have to transition from them. End of statement.
Now, there is one thing I left out. There is one thing I left out here. So, his little brother actually has a friend that works for the state, like in charge, because they've known each other forever, but they have different opinions, but they still get along. Included in that container that opened up that he got a peek into, there came some manifest that came with that and manuals also as well.
Right.
Right. His friend interpreted as, and when a Cuban tel goes, like that, okay, that's like, oh shit, same thing. He's like, what's going on? And he told him, los chinos, right, the Chinese incorporated none other than EXTA, which is their Wi-Fi, privately owned, state-owned department, and the software that they developed for it. They made a modification to this thing, okay, which is what? Guidance system. Nobody else owns it. They're going to use that.
So it's completely Chinese.
Completely Chinese.
Now, did they have they rigged it with a fiber optic guideline, or is it going to be without it?
That I don't know.
Okay.
All I know is fiber optic makes it hard as hell. Nothing EMP won't affect photons.
I can't confirm that. All I know is that they are going to use the same technology that they wrote and that they build for their state-owned telecoms, for that.
Yeah, I would love to get a copy of that manual if possible.
Yeah, I'd love to get one too, but that would I get a knock on the door from Huang Fengqing, right? So fuck that.
Mike, in the past you've talked about like drone technology and whatnot. So what do you think like our overall level of safety is in regards to drones in general?
So drone safety, as far as offense and defense, if let's just say if Cuba were to launch 1,500, I don't think they wouldn't launch 3,000, all of them right away.
No,
so I think they would. No. Let's just say they launched
1,000.
No, let's just they launched 300 of them.
Yeah.
Even before that, they would probably launch maybe 25 or 50 to see what they want to see what our reactive behavior is going to be, and then they would learn from that, and then they would and counter on the behavior of what we have, and then whoever's in stateside in Florida, they're going to have assets there that are going to be watching our law enforcement or military see how we shoot down the 25 or 15 drones that they that are incoming, and they shoot them down. Then they're going to report that information back to command back in Cuba. Then what they're more than likely going to do is they're going to build up another a security barrier in that drone to where they can push back, they can make another firewall to where if we're using EMP rifles, EMP, other types
the
of
new
EMP
guided rifle systems can take them out if we have enough of those.
Right, but it's very
3,000. I would say 12,000 is what they really have.
Well, regardless of what they have, it's the destination of where they're landing, and and I don't know what the Florida National Guard has, or even at CENTCOM has, and that's top secret. I would have to go to the team house and ask and get permission to see what that is. And so I'm just going off school of thought here. When I went to dart training in New Mexico Tech, we would have to have at least 250 to 1,000 soldiers with, let's just say, the EMP rifles, or even shoulder-mounted EMP optical defense
Yeah.
defense markers,
And they have
and
to be in the right positions.
yeah, and so if they do the 25 to 50, and then Cuba comes back and they put up additional firewalls inside the ECMs inside of the drones, then the next volley they do 300 to 500, and that's where you're going to see a lot a bit more damage to infrastructure wherever that's going to be. And I would probably imagine logistically wise is that the drones in Cuba are going to be housed in certain locations on land, and then they're going to be housed in certain specialized Connex boxes that look like regular seafaring Connex boxes that
And
actually
underground.
open up, and then it's either a missile away or drones away. And so it's going to be, they're going to stage them on land, they're going to stage them on sea, and even they can put them in an aircraft and launch them out of a aircraft. So if you take
Yeah,
if they
because they
take
could
their
stage
version
them
of
off
an
a
AC,
fishing boat.
right? So they can do that too. But if they take their version of an AC-130 and mount these drones under them, they can mount them under them. But what I've seen in the war in Ukraine too as well is that they can kick these out of the back of the plane and turn them on and let them start flying. So there's multiple different ways to get to launch these into operation to get on target. So the defensive posture and defensive posture and operation, that's going to be something. I really hope. I mean, I know CENTCOM has a plan already on this, but as far as Florida law enforcement and Florida National Guard acting on this, it's not just Florida too. It's going to be that whole geographical Gulf location. So it's going to be
Puerto Rico too. Don't
yeah,
forget them.
yeah. But it's going to be Puerto Rico. And it would be in my idea or my mind. What you'd want to take out is your major military installations in that area. I'm not going to name them in case someone from Cuba is listening, right?
No, don't.
But
No.
so they're going to take out the installations. They're also good. They're going to look for radio towers. They're going to look for anything that has to do with maintaining infrastructure and maintaining infrastructure that maintains emergency management, communication, and beyond.
And response.
Just remember this. This picture that you're looking at here, or, well, was looking at on screen of that, there we go, of that drone. That's a snapshot of a video that I saw earlier, okay, of the regime test flying one of these things. It's captured by Cespedes, all right? That was also confirmed, okay? And they are doing test flights, all right? Now, how they weren't detected by our people up in the sky, I have no answer for that. I don't know. Also,
I'm sure they were.
But, yeah, but I'm sure they were too. But well, go ahead.
But know this. Remember that I said that they were moved. Okay.
Yes.
They were moved towards the eastern side of the island. Sorry, because logistically it just makes more sense. Also understand, and I did a video on this long ago when the Russians sent their armada down there to create scare with the nuclear power subs, and they all went down to Cuba and this and that and blah, blah, blah. What you don't know is that La Loma de Burro, which is the old antiquated, I'm going to say granite mountain that is in a Havana suburb of Colombia.
Right.
Okay. Was refortified by Russian and Chinese, and they updated all their electronics, their comms, their antennas, and all that. Why? Guidance. I won't say any more. Not here.
Copy that.
No,
Yeah.
understood.
Really quick, guys. One of my one longtime viewer who goes by the name one of 18, because they have 17 brothers and sisters, sent me an email the other day. We were talking about, you know what, I won't use this one. We're talking about something interesting that I hadn't seen, and I'm like, all right, I don't know what this is. Apparently, the Chinese now claim or have, I think it's Beidou 3. I was debating whether it was 5 or not, but Beidou 3 or whatever, what they're saying, and I don't know if you guys know, can confirm or deny, what they're saying is that it can actually see stealth. So what they're saying is that their tracking system, our stealth jets cannot be stealthy around their system. That's
probably
what's being put out.
optically based. Everything that I've read or heard on it, it's optically.
Yeah, I would agree with them. If anything, it would be optically and sensor based only.
Yeah, and those aren't the most dependable in certain conditions. So,
but you do have to give China the caveat that there's a possibility that they can, with something that we don't know what they have available.
Yeah, it could be even have a quantum aspect blended into it. We don't know.
Guys, they gotta, and we definitely gotta start thinking about wrapping up shortly. But I was just thinking, like, you guys have a lot of experience in the government, or we'll say, or whatever. But like, is any branches that you guys are aware of, like any 3-letter agencies or anything, anybody, any position that you guys are aware of, Pentagon maybe, that like that one person's job is to just think of ways that people would attack us? I'm sure you probably have to. They probably have to have a whole.
There's a lot of people that do that.
A lot of people that do that.
In every
Even our
branch.
enlisted military, they have what they call the advanced forward teams, where their job is to pretend that they are the enemy. And how would you make an attack? And they research from there.
Yeah. You got advanced forward, you got op 4. A ton of different acronyms for the same thing that we're talking about. But yeah, no, we absolutely have a bunch of people.
Yeah, because you think the bad guys are constantly cooking up things, and
And for every of the 207 countries on the planet, there is a battle plan to invade them, and they're constantly being overhauled by same or new individuals that are brought in. And it doesn't matter whether they're our best friends or they're Canada or Mexico, there's a battle plan to invade them and decimate them. These aren't friendly battle plans. These are, how do we go in and neutralize this country in the shortest time possible? And they're constantly being reworked.
Yeah,
but every other country does that too.
Yeah, that falls under the DoD BDM, the Battle Development Management Systems.
Yeah. And they're constantly being updated. New. Say some country that ranks 147th installs an upgrade to their telephone system or their internet backbone. That's factored in. New plans are made, et cetera, et cetera. Yep. And it's not just electronic. It's everything from what 4-wheeled or more vehicles are on the ground, or what can fly and what can't, and what can fire a projectile and what can't. Anytime anything like that new is added and confirmed, battle plans are reworked around that nation.
And the best ones that we have, you think of James Bond, the movie where you have Q.
James Bond is gay, by the way. I just leave it there.
Okay. So we have specialists and technical specialists where they are the Q, who are experts in defense and offense.
Big time.
Yeah.
At every layer you can imagine.
Absolutely.
Love it. Lots of cool stuff over there. All right, guys. So I will shelf those links for my next show, but lots of great information, guys. I do appreciate having you guys on here. Let me do a couple of thank yous.
Let me ask you this: do you want to do a Friday? You want to do a Friday like 90 minutes, 2 hours cut off firm? I can do that. I think Mike can too.
Yeah, I'll have to let you know on this one for sure because my boy is back.
Okay.
My boy is back in town.
Don't be lazy. Don't be excuse. No, stop. No,
unless you want to do it really early or really late.
Family first, brother. Family first.
We could do it really early or really late. But
yeah, you were talking about the 12 o'clock time period. I'm trying to tie you down because every Friday we get to Friday, it's me, you, and Mike going, "Are we doing one today?" And you're like, "I'm not here.
I'm not. I'm around. I'm gone."
No, I know you're busy. I know you got. Look, family first. So you don't have to make any excuses to me. No, I just want to know: do we want to do that? We can do it every 2 weeks. We can do it twice a month. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and well, I'll say 100%. We could do it every week once he gets back into school. But I'm trying to figure out, Yeah, but the other alternative is too. We can, we do a lot of either bowling or golfing. We could also do that in the morning. Come back here, do a couple-hour show. I mean, and can go back out in the afternoon.
Can we come up there and play goofy golf, and you guys film it? And
hell yeah.
I'll just wear a mask. I'll just wear the Guy Fawkes mask the whole time.
You're absolutely more than well. Yeah, you guys got an open door. Come on.
I haven't been to a state yet, and Renee and I would love to come over there to see the state. That's one state we haven't been to yet.
It takes 10 minutes, but it's worth it.
Ooh, I'll show you I'll show you guys really quick here too.
You're in Rhode Island, right?
Yeah, you're in and out of the country. You're in and out. I was saying the country. You're in and out of the state in 40 minutes.
Yeah, the best chicken ever. Rhode Island Red.
All right, I'm going to show you. What is it?
I ain't busting
Rhode
balls,
Island.
brother. You know that.
Rhode Island Red. Wasn't she the press secretary for Obama?
Oh no, it was a girl back in 1989.
Jen Psaki.
Circleback Saki.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
I
used to call her Rhode Island Red.
Oh God, I'm not going to say nothing. No, I'm shutting up. I'm muting.
So guys, my cousin, he's retired Air Force for 20 years. He came and visited the other day. I showed this on a few other shows.
Isn't he still in?
I don't know. He retired. He's doing his own thing. Where's the hell is this picture? Oh wait, I know. I'm looking in the wrong room, Mike. Duh. It should be right here. So here,
yell at you over this.
No. He says it's fine. It's public. It's public.
Yeah,
so. All right. So I'll give you a hint. My cousin's, he's got sunglasses on, and he doesn't look like he's gay. The way he's standing.
Which one is that?
Yeah, no, I see him.
the one that has sunglasses that doesn't look like he's ready to go do a knitting thing.
From
ask your cousin if he knows Mark Chavez.
Mark Chavez.
The one without the bicycle.
Let me see.
I think he's got a bike, but he ain't gay looking. Stop it.
You say Matt Chavez, Mike?
I take.
No, it's Mark Chavez.
Mark Chavez. All
yeah,
right.
Mark.
So he lives now in Missouri, and he's near that base there, whatever the Air Force base. But the base he was, I think he was running a base, or not the commander of the base, but he was in charge of the base or whatever. He was in Las Vegas for a while. He was over in Germany. Something master something. Not a master chief or a chief master. It was something. I forget what.
In the Air Force, it would be a master sergeant or chief master sergeant or first sergeant, which would be a chief or a master with a diamond in their chevron cluster.
Well, he did 20 years, so I know that. That's about all I know. I should know, right?
Well, could be master sergeant.
Oh, definitely be a master, if not a senior or chief master.
And very intelligent.
Chances are he's senior or chief.
So I thought
I take that.
Senior
is that the maintenance crew? Yeah, he'd be a senior or chief. In If
that's
he's
the
in that
bike
picture,
crew.
he'd probably be a master sergeant, but a senior or a chief master, which is 1 and 2 stripes above. But
Yeah, this is the
Managing that
cycling team.
squadron, security clearance like hell too.
yeah, was he maintenance?
To be honest with you, no. Actually, you know what? I do know what he did. He, well, actually, I don't know for sure, but I think he was. They would maintain like the missiles and bombs and stuff like that. I don't know if that makes sense. Work on the electronics.
That's
Ordnance, what I used to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said
That's
over in Germany,
Armando's
they had these fun hide and seek games they would play with like the German, I think German military.
with the nuclear bombs.
Well, he said actually basically, so they're
Just
at.
kidding.
Well, no, he said literally they were at the Air Force Base, the United States Air Force Base in Germany, and what they were told to do was essentially like hide and you know with the fake guns, like kill the people if you can. And so they would basically do that. The Germans would come in and try to find them and da 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 da. I thought that was cute.
And they would get beat every time. It's just like history repeating itself. I'm sorry.
So you also like the control, yeah? Okay. All right, let me think.
We are the Wolfgang. Yeah, well, I'm the wolf shooter. You just lost.
Wunderbar. So when you were talking about, this is actually in response to something you were talking about earlier, Mr. G. Fonts dropped $2 hollers in a row. One of them, he said, quoting Sir Isaac Newton's third law of motion, for every action is an equal and opposite reaction. And then he also says there's also AST Space Mobile, $ASTS, that's been putting out satellites into orbit with their stated focus to provide global broadband to individual end users without need to purchase special equipment. Sounds a little bit like...
there's already that ability out there for radio enthusiasts. You can...
how would you know?
You can tap in because I'm a radio geek. And these guys know it, especially lately. But you can actually bounce off of what are open satellites on the FM bandwidth, which is usually anywhere from post 108, 109 megahertz up to 950, 980 megahertz. And you can actually train your antenna if you can hold it right. Or there are units that are made by mom and pop shops now that will actually take a Yagi, what's called a Yagi antenna, and you can then pull up the entire database of satellites that you can communicate through legally with your license, with your ham license. And then your antenna will track, you'll know when it's coming in. And okay, when tracking starts, you can start talking. And you can, instead of bouncing off the atmosphere in a totally different frequency range, you can bounce off that satellite and talk to other ham users legally. And that's kind of like a pipeline that's kept open for national emergency or regional emergencies, hurricanes, earthquakes, things like that, that would say bust up the signal. So there's things you can do like that. There's so many things you can do with LoRa now and MeshNet and all the. I would only pay this is my humble opinion, just stick with MeshNet. It's the original, it's open source, it's Python, Linux, etc. The rest of it is, people trying to commercialize on the LoRa, meaning long range, meaning this little tiny thing you hold in the palm of your hand, you can get, depending on topography, anywhere from 10 to 30 miles. And your device that fits literally in the palm of your hand becomes a node. So if the whole world went to shit and every communication system was shut down, that little unit you hold in your hand, that is MeshNet, you can still send messages continentally and globally. So these are networks that exist outside of the internet. You can even send data, you can send files, there's a number of things, and it's all building up to that. And this is stuff that, as a radio geek, and radio was never my specialty, it was just my geekishness, that was theorized in the 1980s. Now is able to be done. You can buy the parts, build it yourself, including the case and antenna, or you can just buy pre-made, LoRa units, long range. It's FM, it's 905 usually to 950 megahertz range.
Gotcha.
And you can send text messages or anything you want to anyone on the planet, as long as the network extends, say, over the North Atlantic. Now, in a shit hits the fan scenario, yeah, continentally, meaning Canada, all the way up from Alaska to the tip of South America, sure, these meshnet networks will work. And you can get news information, local, specific. It is not government. I'm just saying, works that are out there that are completely independent of any government intervention or any kind of idiots, bureaucrats trying to stick their nose in, that you do have communication abilities well beyond what you think.
Yeah, you just got to look at that movie, Die Hard, whatever it was, and the dude hooked up to the satellites out there on the cell phone, and people didn't know that they were even working over there. So there you go.
You can do that.
Good response there, Mr. G Fonts there. I also got a $2 super chat. Have to always remember what that is, from Mr. MacGyver over there, who always welcomes us either good evening, good morning, or whatever it may be. He says, good evening, Patriot. So good evening to you as well, sir. Mr. Original Clag, who is, I just say anybody that's in California is in your general ballpark, Mike, but he's in the Sacramento area. It was a retired fireman. He dropped a $16 Rumble rant. He says it was intended to be 17, laughing emoji, and then dropped another $1. Says, I got you, brother. Keep up the good and God's work. So I do appreciate that, my man, as well. A couple folks over here to thank on the Pilled over here, where The Watcher dropped a cookie and a praying emoji and 222 at the end. Appreciate that. And then J2 Dank dropped 117 gold pills. No message on that one, but thank you. And Lizzie B with a cookie. No message on there, but thank you. Q shook me all night long with a can. No message on there, but thank you there. Lizzie B again with another cookie. No message. Thank you. Moon Baby 0437 dropped a cookie as well. No message, but thank you. Sean Joe with the Shade, Space Squad member, appreciate you, brother. Jack Attack 17 with the cookie says Altered Carbon was an awesome series on Netflix. Must watch both seasons. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely get the rest of those. I think I'll start it over.
Probably hanging again as usual, but at the end you get to make up your own ending, so it's a happy ending to me. It was anyway. But watch it if you haven't.
I'm going to start it over. It was definitely very cool what I saw. Like I said, 2 or 3 episodes. Mr. Sean Joe with another cookie at the end there. No message on that one, but thank you. And no thanks, Joe. I always enjoy reading his messages, and you'll hear why, guys. Dropped a cookie. Says, tremendously titillating Taco Tuesday teaming with Tier 1 new news and Brother Spaceshot. Great show with your buds, and I appreciate. Yeah, right. Great show with your buds. I appreciate your hard work, friend. God bless, be safe, and best to your boy, Spaceshot. So I do appreciate you guys and gals out there. Thank you so very mucho. Yeah, great folks. And as I've previously mentioned, the best community out here going, and I'm not too bashful to boast the fact that when I ask people for prayers and things along those lines, those are the most reacted to posts out there, which is a great thing to see as we go through here. Not the stupid clickbait stuff. It's always the prayers that have the most responses and people that actually take the time to do that. So I do appreciate all of you wonderful world patriots out there. But Mr. Ghost, sir, actually, you know what, Mr. Armando, I know you got probably school in the morning, so maybe we'll let you do parting words first. If you got a skedaddle, I totally get that, my man. But parting words, the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Spaceshot, for having us on. Thank you to the folks in the live chat. Love this community, especially the mods. They do a great job. I'll be running another show this coming Thursday. Don't know what I'm going to be talking about, but yes, I do. I'm just kidding. But it's all good. So Thursday, Truth Table News World here on Rumble. Also over there on X, you can catch the live stream this Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. We'll have the round table as we have here together. Also as well. And yes, I got to go and let the puppos out, and I got to go back to the Indoctrination Center tomorrow for an amazing meeting to see what where my future lies. So I'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so thank you guys. Love you guys to pieces, man.
I got you, brother. And send me that link once you set that thing, and I'll try to spread it as much as I can around here. But Mr. Truth Table News link, Mr. Armando's links are in the description of all of the videos that you are watching. And thank you so much for coming on here, brother. I always appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys. You guys have a great night, man. We'll chit chat later.
Absolutely.
Peace.
Peace. Mr. Doc Mike, sir, I'm going to be definitely looking through those PDFs that you sent, and thank you for sharing that with the folks out here with the task force. That's super, super cool stuff. So the floor is yours, my man.
Yeah, the world deserves the truth, and deserves to know what's happening and going on, especially with I got a lot more to share, and I'll be more than happy to share it with you so the audience can have the real behind the scenes information that the news just isn't going to share. And I'm more than happy to share that and
Mike,
the information.
Sorry to interrupt you, just really quick. Now we were talking about Las Vegas, and maybe if you can't, we don't say it online, of course. But you had mentioned something to me about Las Vegas, and you mentioned a name that was there that I had never heard anybody ever mention about being in that Las Vegas shooting. So first off, I don't know if you remember that conversation, but for two, could you say that on here now, or did you have to still get okay for that? Because that was something I've never heard. I can text it to you, maybe.
Last week, wasn't it?
There we go.
Are you talking about the South by Southwest?
The Las Vegas shooting area.
Yeah, the big one, right?
Yeah. I just dropped that.
I can't see that. I can't see the chat.
Oh, okay. You know what? Let me see.
You talking about it's the Route 91 shooting?
Yes.
With the
Jason Aldean was there. Jason Aldean was the performer there.
Yeah. So there's you have Tagliotti.
Let me see.
You're talking about the casino people, right?
Yeah, but all right. So I got my screen blocked. You guys can only see the screen right now.
Okay.
I think you mentioned. Was it this one?
Yes. Yeah. Well, there's so you had the you had that prince. You had the Saudi prince. There was an assassination attempt on that prince, and also on the Saudi prince, and so. That's why you had so many calls to the dispatch center. It was back and forth per both of those attempts on the prince's lives.
That's crazy. Now everybody knows the one alleged is MBS, but are you allowed? Do you have to get okay to say the other one?
No, I can talk about it. Yeah, go ahead.
So just go ahead and give them a teaser, and we'll go through this stuff in a future show sometime. But dude, I was shocked. So you, if I'm getting it right, it was Prince Harry was there?
Yeah, correct.
Dude, that's wild to me and nobody had ever heard. Nobody before had ever heard, like MBS possibly being there, right? And then we heard about helicopters, this, that, and the other. So just crazy stuff. I just wanted to kind of pop that in there just to show people, like, clearly you have a lot of great information and things that we've touched on that have been, offline that, we kind of, obviously I have to make sure with you before I say anything online because I'm not going to betray your trust, you know what I mean? So, but I just wanted to get that out because that was wild to me to hear Prince Harry may have been at friggin' at the Las Vegas shooting. That is just wild, bro. So But yeah, so that's just crazy information, and I think everybody in the crowd can agree that the story that they gave us was complete horse doo-doo. And we went over the guy getting shot in the base of his skull and the bullet coming out 4 inches above, but he never had his head shaved and stuff like that. So sorry to interrupt you, but it just popped into my head, and I was like, wait, I forgot about that.
Okay.
I think they wanted to hear that. But yeah, so again, sorry, your final thoughts for the crew.
Yeah, no, all the COVID information, I'm more than happy to share it. The stuff I have, you're not there. I've worked with, on with the National Security Council, different task force. You're not going to hear this on the news, and the public deserves to know about it. So I'll be more than happy in the future shows to share about it, or however you want to go about it and share it with your members. So
I think we should on COVID from both of our perspectives. I think we should.
Yeah.
Get a clearance on that, because
I'm sorry.
I sure as hell. I said get a clearance on that, because I sure as hell won't.
I think you said they never classified it. I think, right, Mike? Is this the same one we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I can share anything I want.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I'll share what I want. I don't care. I'm not going to get a clearance.
No, so anything that
the European side.
Anything that had a classification with or an NDA is now expired, and there was certain just put it this way, Trump has declassified a lot of stuff, which gives me the ability to now share it.
Nice.
So I have that leeway. I'll be more than willing. I am willing to do that, and let the world know what really goes on, or what had happened, what transpired, and the science behind it. A lot of the science, the biotechnology science behind it, just everything behind it. I'll be happy to. Also want to say thank you for everyone out there in this great audience here on this platform. It's amazing. It's a great community, especially to all the first responders, current serving and former veterans and service members. Greatly appreciated, and to all the other audience members that are on here, absolutely greatly appreciate you too. And I just want to give a great thank you for my wife's Gofundme. She is having a heart transplant, and we are doing our best to pay for her medication and to get her through the heart transplant. And so we're always asking for support and donations. If you could share her fundraiser with other people, it would be amazing. And for all the prayers in the world, the prayers mean the most and are endless to us, and we're greatly appreciated to that. And I will do my due diligence to get any information, help out, disseminate it, and whatever topics that you're going to go on, I'll pick and pull, and we'll plug and play, and I'll get that information out so we can rock and roll on the show.
My man, yeah, that's absolutely awesome, and I'm so glad to have Ghost, Mike, and Armando be in addition to this lineup of shows that I do every week, and it's really great to get that little bit of kind of inside baseball of what these people were doing, or you people, what you people were doing now. You being one of the good guys on this. I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't there. It wasn't me. But yeah, so I've said it numerous times, guys. At the end of the day, we'll have maybe 30-something thousand folks, all of the other platforms. If you guys had it in you to even just give $1, I would implore you. And if you were going to donate to the show here, remind me to say this at the beginning of next show, guys. If you're going to donate to my show, then just please, in my name, just donate it over to there. And the mods have been sharing that as well. Mr. Ghost, sir, you have the floor.
I'd like to say to this audience especially, thank you for all you've done for Renee, and for what I know my her husband, obviously, and Armando, and of course you, Space, will do. And it has been amazing. It is amazing. And coming from early on in life, a total medical trajectory in my life, just a big thank you for everyone. And again, just $1. If you can do $1, 5, 10, whatever you can do, please do. And I am not worried about what the Bundesnachrichtendienst, rather, Germany's intelligence services would have to say about anything that we say in the future. I don't know why I said that first, but I did. Or what MI6 has to say. You can both lick my salty balls at that. And
I like it.
no, you can't actually lick them. You're not worthy because you've been in trouble the whole time for everything. And you need to stop it because the Russians are wise to it. Everyone's wise to it. I'm leaving with a really good message.
I'm trying. I'm trying
And
here.
the president's wise to it. So stop it. Stop it. Just gestoppen.
Just stop it. Dude, I can't.
I know German. I'm just playing with it to piss somebody off. I hope I'm pissing somebody off. But yeah, it's always good to be here and always good to just jazz riff like we did tonight, because what I call jazz riff in a interchange, so much reality comes out. This is why musical jazz is an art form, because you never know. When you're sitting down and you got the most amazing impresarios on stage, 4 of them, 5 of them, let's say, you never know what's going to come out of it. And I've been blessed in my life to experience that a few times, a lot fewer times than I wish. I need to pick up on that. But bottom line is, your audience is, I think, representative of the quintessential audience for people wanting to know. And that's why the 3 of us feel comfortable saying a lot of things and then even jumping into some things and making jokes out of some things. But there's a lot of reality that we're trying to give people. And I think that is the most important thing. And that's why we do this. And I want to thank you, Space, for giving us the time. And because this is one of those where the backgrounds of the people involved, the audience is slowly catching on to. Mainstream media wouldn't know what to do with it other than to label each one of us something. God knows I'd hate to know what they'd label my sorry ass. But the bottom line is, we get to sit here and talk with you, and you give us the time, and you ask the questions that actually mean something, and then we play off of it, and that's what makes it jazz. And you get it's way better than that. think of Miles Davis and Herbie Hancock in the same room with you at the same time. Then you know what I feel like. Okay.
Nice.
And it's, for all that we discuss, and for this audience, and for who this audience will hopefully give it out to say, hey, just give this a listen this time. Listen to these wackadoodles, and what do you think? Because, we're giving you, and when we do our thing and whatever else any of us does, we're giving it a cut above. We're trying to. And the only thing we're asking for is help for one of our compatriots' wives.
Absolutely.
And that is the biggest ask anyone could ask of anyone is to help another man with their wife. And I'm sure if I were a woman, I would know what it would be like to be the opposite. But this audience has come through in spades, and I just want to thank them again for that. Prayers, any type of monetary assistance, even if you know something medically, just please somehow get it through and get it to space. And I just want to say thank you for the whole experience, because it's fun, it's gratifying, it's serving our country, and it's serving humanity at the same time. And you can't do more than that. You can't do more than that. I'm sorry.
No,
other than the most important thing, tend to your family first, foremost, tend to your neighbors, tend to your town, tend to your county, tend to your state, tend to your country. If you love your life, you'll find it. You'll do it. And
amen.
When Mike said he was thinking of running for office earlier, that fucking blew me away.
Hell
because look, if he's going to that point, I've been asking at that point. I feel like a coward now because he's thinking about it. And I was like, fuck that. I don't even bother with that. No, leave my life alone. For just reasons for what I've done. We've all done different things. And it's not that I'm some evil Hitler that's trying. No, I'm not Albert Speer. Trust me on that. I've always been. That's been the problem in my life, trying to do the right thing when everybody else was okay with the wrong thing. And that's not okay. The math never balances out. So thank you, Space, for the time. Thank you for letting us riff with you. And thank you for letting us ask the audience to help with Renee. And
absolutely.
It all is bigger than all of us. So thank you. God bless.
God bless to you as well, brother. And I did pass that question past my cousin. He did get back to me. He did not recognize the name. I'll have to. I'll get his contact
all those guys
information
are
to you.
cool. There's 9 dudes there. None of them are gay. Your cousin's cool. Okay, no problem. I don't want to piss any B2 guys off.
He was a Virginia dude too. Now he lives in Missouri, so he went from like hillbilly to hillbilly. So yeah, he's got. Dude,
well, he went to better hillbilly, as far as I'm concerned. I was just leaving it with that.
Better hillbilly. Well, thank you guys, Ghost, Mike, for coming on, and Armando, if you happen to be listening. Appreciate your guys' very unique perspective on these things, because not a lot of folks have had the experience that you guys have had. So I do appreciate you guys coming on. The mods as well, greatly appreciate all your guys and gals help out there who selflessly for a very long time have helped myself and many others out there. So as I say here, thank you
for helping Spaceshot.
Yeah.
Guys, too.
I'm going to list them off really quick here. Cap 78 Pack, Chris Schaus, Diane DeVoe Williams, Debbie Roush, GGB Working It, James Rohrback, Patriot Chick, P Dancer, Susie Q, Tasmaniac, Tanette Booth, and Wheezy Girl. So we do appreciate you guys, all your help there. And for all of you wonderful world patriots, we do appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning in. And until that next one, for me, it'll be Thursday, day off tomorrow. Thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means, on infiltration instead of invasion.
They have all the money in the world. They have all the power you need. What's the point? What's the end goal? They said the end goal is to get everybody chipped, to control the whole society.
Party in the garden. The tower's falling, love in the summertime. Ooh, yeah, yeah. And I'm unified, feeling oh so unified. In the light now, in the a gift. That's why we call it the present. We were born on the garden of Eden, but the flowers grow up, little birds chirp. I was in the garden just having a laugh, till I met a monster cross my path. Hey girl, do you want some more trilla? I could get you lit up one or two ways. What's it gonna be, man? What's it gonna be, man? Said I felt like the whole world was begging me to rain fire above upon my enemies, till the love washed over me, till I let the love wash over me. Said I forgot the whole world begging me to rain fire above upon my enemies, till the love washed over me, till I let the love wash over me every day. It's a gift, that's why we call it the present. Every day. It's a gift, that's why we call it the present.
Drink these cheers. Can we be saved?
It's a gift, that's why we call it the present. Every day. It's a gift, that's why we call it the present. Every day is a gift.